Welcome, everybody, to the EUphoria Podcast. This is episode 10. I'm your host, Rekkles, joined by Deficio. As always, a podcast about all things EU LCS. Today, we're going to be giving out some totally made-up EU LCS Awards. We're going to be doing a quarterfinal review. We're going to be asking our guests to go 1v1 in some semifinal predictions. We'll have some semifinals discussion as a whole, and then we'll do some finalized predictions and some over-under, a segment we're borrowing from our friends over at the NALCS Countdown. Of course, our two guests today, returning, as they have both been on the podcast before, we are joined by Perkz and Rekkles. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
How does it feel to be the first two players who get to return to the podcast?
Special.
I feel really honored.
It's a great
being
honor,
here next to this guy and next to this guy and this guy.
Technically, you're in front of us, but I'll take it.
Yeah,
I mean, he's also
just
next
being
to
right
you,
here next to you guys.
Martin,
like
technically, you're
just makes
Wait,
it feel,
fine,
it's also
whatever.
adjacent.
I'm still sad about the promised camera, though. What's that about?
I can film on my phone.
We ran into some technical difficulties. We're in the process of building a set, and then some stuff happened.
Apparently,
I don't
it's
know.
half built. You can actually see it if you are. I think it's around where you guys are shooting interviews.
Oh, yeah. Actually,
Next to that, there's like a half completed set.
Yeah, it got delayed.
So maybe for summer?
Yeah.
Let's aim for summer split.
We'll aim for summer. We'll keep you guys posted for everybody listening to you.
But for the viewers who obviously will be very interested in what the players are wearing at the moment, I can say that Rekkles is completely packed in Fnatic gear.
Yes.
From top to toe. No G2 gear on him, sadly. Perkz, on the other hand, is
Just
wearing
covered.
only G2 stuff.
So we literally have two perfect team mascots here.
Yeah, and I think it says "Love Carlos" somewhere as well.
I love Carlos.
Really
Wow.
likes
I didn't know they
Carlos.
had an "I love Carlos" shirt.
They do
So
now.
impressive. So I want to ask. Recently, we get all these. We had a bunch of people leave the office last week to shoot these features, leading up to playoffs, and I always think they look really cool afterwards, right, when the sound is edited in. But then I think about the player shots without the music playing in the background, and I wonder how it feels for you guys, because we've got these shots of you pounding your chest, people are slicking their hair back, they're making what is the actual experience like when you're filming those kind of video features for playoffs?
So for us, it was actually really awkward. Especially those parts for me were really awkward because we do it over and over, right? Something we do it once and then the other guy goes. I'm pounding my chest 10 or 20 times and it's not getting better with each. So it was really, really awkward. But I think the worst one was probably when Broxa was doing his segment and he was doing whatever move he was up to, and then he was ending it with Broxa smash, and the room was completely quiet. So it was
so he's
hard not to
literally
crack.
no one else talks during this. It's just Broxa was the only person who talked.
I mean, we are having a chat in the corner, right? But usually we're quite quiet because sometimes they're even rolling the audio, right? So we're just trying to not disturb, but then you just hear him screaming, Broxa smash and
Did
pounding
they
his
ask him
chest.
to say anything, or did he just do it?
I think they asked him to do it.
Okay.
But it's kind of become a thing ever since he joined LCS, since he's kind of the buffed guy, and I know they have the Twitch chat memes and all that.
It's
so
true.
it's become a thing to say Broxa smash and pound your chest like King
It's just the
Kong.
perfect image of this very serious studio set with just only Broxa screaming at the top of his
But if there's any guy that does it has to be him. He's
Yeah.
actually a buff dude. So
So G2, anyone screaming Perkz smash?
No, we literally have some smashing on G2.
No?
no, it's more of a Roxa thing.
they have a pretty sick mask though.
Yeah,
it's
actually,
I'm
our
actually
mask
jelly.
is really, really cool. Every time we have to film, there's always a mask there because it's just so cool, and everything we do, it just makes it so much better. So
Do you guys bring the mask, or do
I think Riot just brings the mask.
Riot brings the mask?
Yeah.
Oh, you guys did sell
I
them
thought
for
it
a
was
while.
G2's
I think
mask.
they actually probably just bought the mask so they can just wear it everywhere.
Yeah,
Probably,
I mean,
yeah.
you guys made a super small batch and sold 100 of them. So after that one finals where it was you guys versus Unicorns of Love, and
Because that's where it started. That's what I
that
remember.
was hype. That was good.
It was
times.
pretty insane. I remember standing in the venue. It was the first time we did the two guys with the flags walking in first, and we had Romar from Unicorns of Love, obviously dressed up in whatever cosplay this time around, carrying this giant flag with him. Super awesome. The crowd went nuts. And then music fades. New song starts for G2. And then Lothar, their Hearthstone manager from G2, walks in. Also a pretty buff dude. Gotta give him that credit. Looks super sick in his cosplay. But the only thing I remember, and I'm very sorry to say this, but the crowd started booing.
Yeah, that was really.
And I was just like, what? Like,
They sold you out.
how are you booing at this? Like, this makes no sense. No matter how much you can like the one team, like, how could you boo at the other one in the final? It's not
That
a
was a
home
shame.
versus
I mean,
away.
they got really embarrassed right after. So
Yeah, you guys then kind of crushed Unicorns. So I guess.
That was pretty. Yeah, they got their
that's what they
moment
get
of
for
triumph.
boo.
But
it
it
was
was take
sick.
a game though, right? When you guys were trolling with field
Yeah, we were trolling. Like we were legit. We were like too bored. They were too bad, so we had to pick like a fiddlestick and some shit.
Nifty fiddlesticks doesn't sound too great when you think about it now.
Old
Actually,
school.
he was kind of carrying the game. Oh, he was actually kind of carrying that game. Like I think me and Sven and Trick fucked up a bit, and then I mean I don't know. The series was just a free win. And,
All right.
yeah.
My question is, if you guys meet each other in the finals, I know that Lothar can be there as the big buff flag carrier guy for G2. Is there a Fnatic? Is there like a Fnatic streamer or CS:GO player or something? Do you guys have a big buff guy waiting to carry a flag? Because it's like an EU tradition.
It's
now.
actually true. You can't get to the final without a big
You
buff.
need a
and
buff
We might
guy
as
and
well
carry
use
the
Brox
flag.
at this point, right? Like he's already
Sub him
prepped
out
with
to someone else so he can carry the
yeah,
flag.
Brox and
People
Smash
can
and
play
everything.
jungle. Brox is now the flag carrier.
Or we just need, I guess we just need Brox to do a pick and ban phase to not be with the team but stand behind them and wave the flag. And then when the game starts, you can just sit down.
Just give him
I
dog
mean, he
camp
could
to
just
work
pick
out.
the champion like with the
Yeah,
flag.
then he can,
like, goes
wave
and pick
the flag.
champ.
We'll talk to the official competitive
Yeah,
ruling
Brox
allowing
smash.
Brox to smash. All right, so our first segment is what we're calling totally made up EU LCS Awards. Basically, we feel like, one, there aren't enough awards. You know, all pro team,
Everyone
MVP,
loves awards, man.
rookie coach. It's not enough anymore. We need more. And they don't cover all of the things that make LCS great. So we're going to start with a pretty serious one right off the bat. I want to know, in your guys' opinion, who is the most handsome player in the EU LCS?
You want to start with yours? I mean,
Like,
I
who's
was thinking about Cabo first, but then you guys mentioned Cold before. So.
I mentioned. I take Cole.
And when you think
like,
about Cold, like he's a very beautiful man. Blue eyes, blonde hair,
You got that
pretty buff,
strong Danish.
aesthetic look.
the smile,
Is
like,
also in good
smile
shape,
just
unlike the
makes you
Dane sitting
warm.
next to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, Cole isn't great. He went to Brazil to train. Like,
Yeah.
that shows how serious
At like
he
a
actually
Danish
is.
training camp in Brazil. That is serious.
That
is
shows
commitment.
you're committed.
I don't even know they were Danish.
I think I'm
people in
biased
Brazil.
anyways about Cabo because I'm trying to grow a beard myself sometimes
I
and
feel
it's
you.
not working and he just has like
Wait,
this amazing...
can you grow an actual beard?
No, that's the problem. I've tried for like a year and a half now and it just doesn't happen. I just get
have to
this
wait a
like
bit more, like,
Yeah.
cheek
couple
beard,
more
you know.
years.
I kind of have your issue as well, and the problem is there's no real good solution.
To be
Yeah.
fair, Rekkles' little beard looks a lot better than your beard when you don't
What?
shave.
I have like sides.
You get the side, and then you get these weird patches.
Yeah,
They're just,
I
like,
have holes
random-
here and here, so that's like next to the mouth, which is completely missing, and that's obviously not great. I get a fantastic neck beard. It covers the
nice.
entire thing.
Is that a Nordic thing? Because I have the same problem actually. Like the neck beard is fine, but then on
I
the
don't know
sides,
what
it's
it
just-
is.
it's just
I don't know
missing.
what it is, but again, like we can try as much as we want. Like I look myself in the mirror, I try and like squeeze really hard to see if I can get some hairs
Stop
coming
happening,
out.
shit
But
out.
like,
And the Cabo was just chilling and he has this perfect beard. It's
and
insane.
a crazy mustache. Yeah. So Cabo and Cold.
so he's the runner-up. Cold is
two
number
front runner.
one.
Is there anyone else?
I need number two.
What do you mean Cold is number one right off the bat?
They all mentioned Cold instantly.
I don't know. I only have Cold really on my list.
Yeah, you like the clean shaven. He is buff. He's ripped as hell. He worked for that.
I mean, there
body.
must be someone else,
Only
right?
players, right?
Yeah, players.
Only players.
I mean, castles would be too easy. So
What about coaches?
Ooh.
Yamato Cannon?
Ooh.
Yeah?
Yeah, he's a very handsome man.
Lately he used to be. I don't know. I haven't really paid attention too much lately, but I
still
remember
very
back in the day he was really well dressed and
he's still well dressed.
Yeah, still?
He
Okay.
tries at least.
yeah, I
to-
just
I
haven't
mean, well
thought
dressed
about it.
doesn't mean handsome. No?
Yeah, but it does go into the
well
aesthetic,
dressed.
you know.
It does buff you up a little bit.
To be fair,
But he is quite handsome as well, isn't he?
yeah.
What about Janen when he has the hair he pulled all the way back, like the real Swedish pretty boy hair?
What? No, I mean Rekkles beats him in the Swedish Pretty Boy contest.
Yeah, but we can't
Easy.
pick Rekkles.
Rekkles can't pick Rekkles. That doesn't mean I can't pick Rekkles.
But that's kind of rude to Perkz, isn't it?
It's true. Perkz, you're not as pretty as Rekkles. I'm sorry, man.
I-
Rekkles is just. It's
What
the
about
Nords,
Sprattle?
man.
Stratos is pretty
Sprattle's awesome.
pretty decent.
You
look,
like
yeah.
the Nordic people there.
I just think it's cool when you have like the full beard and you do the hair as well. It just looks pretty
Yeah,
nice.
the beard.
It's hard to look good with short hair and no beard, I think, unless you're buffed up, like Cold.
Yeah.
Because then it looks aesthetic.
Maybe Cole. I think Cole might be number one.
I think we've all agreed he's number one.
All right. Well, he won something this split. That's good for Cole.
There we go. And he's on the analyst list for the final. That's 2 wins for
Which
him.
is perfect because that's where he gets to show off his handsome face the most. Okay,
Yes.
so most handsome player of the split award goes to Cold. Is our runner-up Cabo?
We didn't have a third one.
What about
we
the
don't-
bottom teams? I'm trying to think of like Giants. Joko is pretty
Joko's not
decent.
bad.
I saw him on the analyst desk this week, and it actually looked
Yeah,
pretty
good in a suit, right?
Yeah.
Oh well.
I was surprised. It actually looked pretty
Yeah,
decent.
Joko has blue eyes. I remember that.
Yeah.
Oh, you
I-
noticed that?
Yeah, I
Nice.
actually know, like that. He has really nice eyes. Yeah, Joko is for sure up there.
So Joker's number 3.
Yeah.
Right, I can look
Okay.
at that.
Wait, is it Cabo Joko? Is it art? Because we talked so much about the Nords, but
Well,
two
people,
French players coming in. I just wrote French instead of Joko. that's not. It's not a player. All right, I'm just gonna call it there. Cold first, and then 2 French players behind him, and Cabo and Joko. We'll get an official award. We're not gonna get him a plaque. We'll get him a nice graphic. We'll
No
put it out on the
trophy or
internet.
anything.
Trophies are expensive, man. I mean,
Actually, you can get really cheap trophies.
all right, maybe we'll get him a really
It's
cheap
really
trophy.
garbage.
All right, next question. Who would be the best caster among pro players? It could be analytical. It could be hype.
Me.
You.
I would be the best.
Okay.
I would be the best caster.
Okay,
for sure.
well then, give me the argument.
Yeah.
So I listened to the Fisher casting, and I realized I can do better than that.
I was about to say, put Perkz in that list.
I mean, to be fair, Perkz, you're joining a list of at least 30 other people in the EU LCS.
yeah, you're not unique there, mate.
Seriously, I could cast like I could get really like with some Red Bulls. I could get really hyped. So I could be like a good shoutcaster. The
So
hype
you'd be like
caster.
the play-by-play
I
caster.
could be play-by-play, or I could also be the color caster, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So because my game knowledge is out of this world, so no matter what, I could like actually like shift my cast styles.
So you could basically solo cast.
I could solo cast a series.
Oh,
That's hard.
damn.
Very
I was going to
impressive.
pitch you and Yankos. You guys could both
But only
just
if you have some Red Bull, right?
Only if I have
Yeah, yeah.
What about some Monster? I can set you up.
Oh my God.
Jokes.
That I Love Carlos shirt that you're wearing, Perkz, would look really good with
I
it.
love Monster shirt.
Yeah, there you go.
Get all the
All right. So
Okay,
Perkz
Perkz
nominates
number 1.
himself.
That's respectable. Is there anyone else who like really stands out?
I would like to hear Kiliu's casting. Because I feel like he's so enthusiastic about everything. So
And he's
it
very
would be
blunt.
nice to
Which is very
listen
Yeah.
to him.
Very opinionated. Would actually be super entertaining.
Because, for example, you guys have had Cold a lot on the analyst desk, right? But I don't, for example, enjoy listening to him that much because I think he is the exact opposite to Julius. He doesn't really pick a side. He just kind of like floats in the middle, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And I would rather listen to someone that has a very strong opinion
Yeah.
and are sure about what they feel.
See, I would love Gilius to be confident if he was sitting on the caster desk. We had him on the podcast, and he was just very friendly and wholesome. He didn't pick a side.
But he's very result oriented in his way of feeling, right? So, for example, after their games against H2K, I can understand if he didn't feel that great because they almost lost that series, right? Meanwhile, they were still like twice or 3 times as good as H2K as a team. So
He was still ready to,
yeah, he threw
back
some
up his
shots,
stuff and he-
but that was mostly jungle. Like at least
Yeah,
from
it
what I
was.
listened, it was mostly jungle versus jungle. It wasn't really team
Didn't
versus
throw
team.
shots at the whole team.
Yeah.
So Gilius would be interesting.
I do think though for next split we should try to get more tri-cast involving players. This makes me think. Just
I mean, we've already started putting
the
them
issue
putting
is
pick
you
and ban
guys
phase.
made LCS too close. If this had been last year when we had like 2 last weeks where literally none of the games mattered, it would have been the perfect time to just randomly bring players onto the caster desk.
Yeah, I was sad about that as well. I was actually thinking about pulling out the vein or something, but the teams we were playing for playoffs,
Yeah,
so we
yeah.
couldn't do anything.
No,
out
I
of
mean,
the
and I
group,
respect that mentality that if they're playing for something, you should play seriously. 'Cause
Drakos, who do you think could be a good caster? I'm thinking Kasing could actually be interesting.
I don't know, man. Kasing is interesting. I want to hear
He's just
Perkz.
gonna be
though.
laughing
Perkz
all
is-
the time.
Perkz
Yeah, but that would
sold
be
himself
entertaining,
so
I guess.
confident.
Yeah, but I feel like that's more of a PGL thing than maybe an in-game thing.
Or maybe for a special stream. Like
Yeah.
lane stream. or
Like the
something.
lounge stream they have in NA would be kind of cool
that
to
kind of
sing maybe.
stuff. So basically, we have Perkz at the moment as the
Perkz
front
is the
runner.
most confident
And
in
then
his
Gilius.
delivery. Admittedly, he's selling himself, but I think. Do we just give it to Perkz? Rekkles, do you
I
think
think-
Perkz could do it?
Can you
Yeah.
get loud enough? That's one of the questions.
I think we don't have any other candidates, guys. I think we just have
Do you have like a sample? Do you want to give us like a little?
Can you actually
taste?
try and play by play something? Like, can you try and give us like 10 seconds of you? I can find a clip of a team fight, and then you can get to. play.
Okay, I can do it. I
Yeah,
can do
yeah.
it.
So
I
you
can do
guys
it.
talk about all our options.
I can do it.
Okay.
I can do
I
it.
mean, look, I'll tell you what. I'll make a deal. We'll pause. Who would be the best caster? We'll come back to it after the next one.
Okay.
And we'll get the Perkz casting sample while we get the clip ready.
Okay.
All right?
I'll find a Fnatic clip.
Fnatic
right
clip.
now, I'm missing some caffeine in the body, but I can still do it. I can
believe you. I believe
As a
you.
costume,
I'll take
you
this
gotta
at
be able to-
70%
I have to
Perkz
bring it.
casting.
I
I'll
have
take
to bring
this
it
to 70%.
from me. I have to bring it like inside of me. So I will try my best now.
Cool.
You got to learn to, bring it out, Perkz. Okay.
Ooh, I know. I'll take a week 1 team fight.
There you go.
Certain
yeah.
AD carry
Oh.
died very early.
No.
All right, guys. Next one, biggest solo queue troll. While Martin gets the clip ready for Perkz's shoutcasting test, who is the biggest solo queue troll among the pro players in the EU LCS and why?
Caps.
Cups.
Because he plays Wukong top with Ignite. Or Shaco. He plays on Shaco as well.
Train
thing
the
is, I
mirror.
just-
Train the mirror.
Wait, but he queues up for mid though, right? He doesn't just queue up
Yeah,
for
I mean,
himself.
when he plays
No,
mid, he
he queues
usually
up for
plays
alpha
quite
as well.
serious, right? I mean, he
Yeah.
sometimes plays something unorthodox mid, but
Yeah,
for
yeah.
the most part, he's actually like trying for his life.
Yeah,
mid.
he's trying, and then, I mean, it's
Until
like
the game
he wastes so much time playing solo queue, right? Or
Yeah.
not wastes, but uses a lot of time, all the
Yeah.
time playing solo queue. So some of, like, let's say 60% of his games are really productive because he actually is tryharding. But then some of the games he just really runs it down.
Yeah.
Or one bad thing happens and then he just runs it down, or he's just off-rolling with Wukong.
Yeah, as soon as he get out the field, he just tries a
And-
champion,
and,
he plays every champion in the game. Just
Yeah,
I played already
think-
Wukong, so now it's time for the next guy.
Yeah,
and
he's
then
for
it
sure
just-
the
just
number
keeps
one.
going
no?
down the list.
Like the number one troll. Because like when I get him
But
on
he's
the team,
better now, though.
like when I get him on the
before.
team, yeah, for sure. But still, when I get him on the team, I'm not sure. Am I gonna win this game or am I gonna lose this game?
Yeah, he kind of decides your fate, I guess. So.
Yeah, he kind of decides. Like it's not up to me. It's like kind of up to him.
Wait,
Yeah.
so I've
Besides.
Wukong top with Ignites, questionable, I would say. Anything
But he does well, though. It's not like he.
Yeah, he's
He
still
ints on the
very
champion.
skilled. Yeah,
Yeah.
He's like just sometimes he ints. I don't know. It's just
It's
weird.
just some of his matchups are not that great. Like I saw like Shaco versus Sion top or something. It didn't seem that great.
yeah.
And then he was trying to do camps level 1 with his boxes, but he failed the setup. So he was level 1, had to TP back to lane or something.
Okay.
All right, all
Can
right.
you see
Wasn't
it
that
properly, Perkz?
Yeah.
So we've already decided. Is there any runner-up for solo queue? Is a week 1
Why
clip?
do you pick this one?
It,
Like I'm gonna get Sejuani ulti from Fog here.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Hey, hey,
I think he's gonna counter
caster
again.
Okay,
Can you go
I'm
back one more
the-
time
What
so
is
I
the
can
other
get
caster
into it?
called?
Okay.
I'm the
I'm
one that's
right now,
helping.
okay.
So this is a random clip. I googled random LCS clip,
Sure you did.
and then this
I'm
came up.
sure you googled it one time I misplayed.
To clarify for everyone watching, first off, Caps, biggest troll in solo queue. We're now deciding who would be the best caster among players. This is Perkz' audition. It is Fnatic versus Splice. This is week 1?
Week 1.
Day one.
Day
One.
1.
Day one.
Splice win this game?
Who knows?
We don't know. Okay, we are very first time casting this game.
Who knows? Okay. So Perkz, you can get like 15 seconds of casting here.
Okay.
You let me know when you're ready, and remember you are the play-by-play. So you
gotta give me that hype.
Give us
Give me
some
that
hype.
hype.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Okay, let's go.
And Fnatic is going mid. They're grouping S5. They're clearing up pink, and they're gonna ride down mid right now. And they want to look for a fight, and they want to fight. And Rekkles gets ulted, and Rekkles gets one shot. And now the fight is turned into Splice's favor, and their starry clue popping off, and the chase is going on, and Fnatic is running away. But the AD carry died. What a mistake by Rekkles! Big mistake. This is unacceptable from such a 65 KD Tristana. I cannot see this anymore. Fnatic just threw the game.
All right.
That was great.
Okay, your crutch word might be and, but otherwise I love it. It's in.
Some rap got in there. I
There's
feel
some
like.
rap guy. We're going quick, man. Okay. All right. Best caster among players, Perkz. I'm convinced.
Do you agree, Rekkles? Do you agree?
I mean,
Yeah.
you can't deny that.
I mean,
I like how critical he was of that Tristana, whatever his name was, that got caught and
if I
died.
listened to this, I would have improved much faster than if I listened to one of you guys. I'm on Perkz' side.
All right, Perkz got that one. I like it.
All right, we're giving away 3. Cold, the most handsome. Perkz would be the best caster. Caps is the biggest solo queue troll. What was the worst play of the split?
Is this one a candidate?
Perkz is having
I
another
think
audition,
I
maybe.
win it here as well. No, I don't know. I'm so great. Like I win everything.
So, Perkz, which play are you talking about?
I'm talking about the play where I was playing Corki, and I had a package, and we didn't do much for like a couple of minutes in the game, and I just ran it down with the package.
Describe to me exactly what happened. Because running it down, I mean, a lot of people would assume that
It's
you
more
ran it
like
down mid, but
a
where
zero.
did you run it down?
Azir, broom,
So then you package towards Azir,
Yeah.
and then what's next? Because your team didn't follow, and you saw 2 players from Schalke.
No, I didn't see them actually.
There was an Alistar right behind you, at least. But
No.
let's say you didn't see him then.
Okay.
You just saw the Azir.
No, I saw the Azir, and the Kha'Zix was stealth, and Alistar was still out of vision.
Okay.
And I don't know. I didn't think.
And you just back into the Azir.
Yeah, it was a big mistake.
And then flash away. Because that was one option.
The only runner-up is Gilius.
Did you guys see the Gilius Kha'Zix play?
Yes.
Where he walked
Yeah.
in the team. The comms are
But
what
that
made
became
it for
funny
me.
because of the comms.
The
Yeah,
comms
yeah.
made it so
Like, I doubt you guys had those comms in that
No,
situation.
we did not have those comps. No.
You didn't go,
It was
oh,
more
what
like,
am I
guys,
doing?
Run,
Oops.
I f***ed up. Give off Nash.
Give up that. So there's that one. There's the Gilius one, which, as you guys said, it was not as bad of a. I mean, it was a bad play, but
It was made
didn't
fun. I
cost
mean,
us
it didn't
much.
cost him really anything. It worked out
He just
fine.
walked mid and died. Now there is one other player I want to mention, but it's a little bit rude because I just found this random clip of Fnatic losing a fight. But this is also from early on in the split, Rekkles.
I was thinking of another one from me, but okay.
Okay, I want to hear that one after. The one I'm thinking about is against, I think it's Vitality. You guys get back in the game, you get Baron, you're playing Tristana, Hylissang is playing Janna.
Yeah, we go for the Lucian and then we die.
At the moment you get it, you just run bot lane alone, like
Yeah.
all alone. You just run all the way up bot lane to like the enemy tier 2 tower, and you just start fighting the Lucian or something.
Yeah.
And Hylissang is like rushing to try and help you, and all of Vitality just walk in and kill you.
To be fair though, I really misplayed that situation because I thought he wouldn't react that fast. I thought since I was coming from fog that he would never ever
Yeah,
dodge
yeah.
my ult, so I could auto ult instead of ult auto. And then he dashed in my ult so he could get really far away and I couldn't kill him. But if I kill him there, I have another jump. And then it's okay. Like we could outplay that situation.
So, could have maybe have been a good plan.
But it was not a good call because we just got Nash and the game
yeah, your team was in base.
completely
Yeah,
fine.
Gilius
Like,
thinks the same thing. He goes, hey, if there were 3 of those people who were there weren't there, this Kha'Zix thing would have worked out perfectly.
no, but even if they were there, it would have been fine. It was just not a good call because we had Tristana Janna, so we could have won the game in a 5v5
Sure.
situation. We did not
And a
need
zero
to
as
make
well,
a
I
play.
think.
Yeah.
I just
But
remembered it.
During week 1 and week 2, we were still
Yeah, of
2017
course.
Fnatic.
Of
So,
course. Bring up candidates. What is your candidate?
so well, I was thinking of my own play.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest mistake I probably did this split that cost us a game was the one against Misfits where I got killed with both summoners up in the second game.
Ooh, yeah, at
Taunted
the end of the
by
game, you got the
Shen.
Shen taunt.
Yeah, but that wasn't actually the dumbest play of the split though. That was
No, but
more,
that,
that was
I was
more
thinking,
just a
because you
mechanical
mentioned me,
mistake.
so I was thinking of
Yeah,
what
but
was my
hey.
worst play that cost my team the
Yeah,
game.
makes sense.
And
I'm
that
trying to even
one
it out
was-
so we're not just
yeah.
flaming Perkz,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
So
okay.
I'll throw
okay,
some
makes
over
sense.
there.
But I love that Perkz didn't even take it as flame, though. Perkz was like, what can't I win? I'm unstoppable.
I own that, man. I own this play.
It's hard to find like the dumbest play. I feel like there's been like bad players maybe, but not really like a really dumb play other
Yeah.
than the ones you already mentioned.
Yeah.
yeah.
We might have to give it to Perkz then.
Perkz, god damn it.
Man, he's taking 2 awards
I'm
now.
a winner.
both.
Well,
the
I think
best
I
potential
should be in
casters.
contention for handsome maybe.
Oh, so okay.
All right, I'll tell you what.
I just want to be somewhere on that paper. Just put my name.
Fine. We'll
Nice.
add you in as a bonus.
All right, Rekkles is the bonus. We'll make sure. We're going to
And
make a
solo
graphic.
control. I mean, my Janna is pretty wild. So
Actually,
Oh my god.
Now it's all just about you guys. You guys are winning all the awards.
That's not true. Like our duo, I got 200 LP with our duo.
yeah, you know, we duo queued like 2 or 3 days ago. I played sport and he played a carry, and we were like 80% win rate or something.
yeah.
Not
we were
bad.
really
Until
awesome
he
against-
started trolling, and then we lost the
Yeah,
game. And then I
yeah,
stopped duo queuing. I just made some excuse like, no, not
Yeah,
today.
yeah,
Not
yeah.
Oh,
today.
I'm a little bit
Vegas.
sick, you know. Yeah,
And then I
no.
queue up and we get in the same game.
Yes, bot lane.
That's great.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good.
So that was awkward.
All right, last question. We asked for a bunch of Twitter questions, guys. We're not putting them in one spot
Oh, we got so
today.
many.
But we're kind of mixing them in, probably one per segment on the show. And so for this segment, we had someone ask John Henderson at FaxedHensd. You have a very hard Twitter tag.
Yeah.
Your name is very easy, though. I appreciate that. So John Henderson said, can they please create a caster tier list? I think that would be hilarious as a little break from the seriousness in playoffs. So why don't you guys give us your top 3 casters?
It can be any kind
Any
of
NA, EU, LCK,
Oh, everywhere.
LPL.
Yeah,
everywhere.
yeah. Doesn't have to be just Euro.
That's actually
And Deficio and I don't have to be on the list. I don't want you to exclude us
What was his
because
name?
I would love for Deficio not to
Okay,
be on the list.
What was the guy
Who?
called that was working with Monte Cristo back in the day?
Doa?
Doa?
Oh yeah, he's my number 1.
Doa's number 1?
Yeah,
Okay.
I liked him.
That's interesting.
And then Monte Cristo number 2. So
They're
now
not
you
even
guys,
cast league,
now
but
you guys
we're
have
losing to
to
them?
convince me for the number 3 spot.
Oh, so we have to like fight each other for
Yeah.
your love or what?
Sure.
I mean, I'm gonna use the current casters for me. I for last so long, I actually really enjoy listening to Papa Smithy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he will maybe be my number one right now, and my number two, I'm gonna put the Fisher my number two because I still really like to listen to
I'm
the
so
Fisher.
blessed. I'm so honored. Beaten by Papa
But
Smithy,
Papa
though.
Smithy is just too damn good right now.
Dude,
okay?
man, he's got like
every game,
300 games or something. It's
Every time I
insane.
tune into LCK cast, I hear his voice,
Yep.
and he's actually really smart.
Yeah.
I'm actually really everything he thinks, I think like, you know, like legit everything he says, I think like that too. So I'm really just surprised at him, you know.
Good.
And my number three, that's a tough one, man. That's a really tough one. I don't know who to put in my number three. I need
Actually, I know who to put for my number 3. Because I don't want to choose between you guys, so I'm going to choose Medic. I think he's been a really great addition to you.
Oh, I like that.
And for Doha and Monte Cristo, it was mainly because back when I started watching a lot of League, especially like Korean League, they were the ones casting.
Yep.
And I enjoyed watching them so much that I even followed their Twitter and stuff and what they were doing IRL. So I thought they were cool back in the day before the whole thing happened. I actually don't even know what happened, but I just saw
They
them
just
disappear.
moved
They
on.
moved on to Overwatch.
Yeah.
It's all good, man. I mean, I still remember like watching season 3, season 2
Yeah.
era OGN, late night broadcasts.
That was probably when
They
I
talked a lot
was-
about gin. I remember that. Not the character, the alcoholic beverage.
Their duo has kind of been a very legendary part of casting in League of Legends and a huge part of introducing like Korean League of Legends as well. And I think you're not alone in sitting a few years ago and watching every LCK game or OGN
Yeah.
game back then and listening to Doan Monty and enjoying it because I definitely did the same as well. So I think really cool list. We just need Perkz number 3.
Yeah, Papa Smithy, Deficio.
But I don't listen with voice that much anymore. It's hard to choose a current one.
No,
because
like half
I-
of the EU LCS games I listen on mute.
That's fair.
Because you're listening to music, of course.
Yeah, I listen to
yeah.
music.
Or talking to your teammates.
But when you watch
about
LCK, do you listen? I usually have.
No,
it muted.
I mute on everything I watch, like LCK or LCS or an LCS. But I don't know. I just really don't know. Even like
Maybe someone from NA. If
What
I had
about-
to choose one from NA, it would have to be
Kobe.
Kobe.
I would choose Kobe for sure.
You want to put
So
Kobe on
if
there?
I put one from each region, Kobe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would do that.
Cool. We got the lists.
Love it. Doa, Monte Cristo, Medic for Mr. Rekkles, Papa Smithy, Deficio, Kobe for Perkz.
Perkz likes his color casters.
Yeah, he does.
Respect.
I saw Medic's tattoo as well. That was.
Oh yeah, the heart
That was
tattoo.
nice.
That was good work,
Harder?
man.
Actually,
Yeah.
now I should mention that all of them are actually color casters. I really like Quickshot.
You want to put him on
I
as
really
a...
like to listen to Quickshot. I think the Quickshot casts are so entertaining for me. And
So who goes in what category?
Is
So
he-
quick shot and, for example, Rivington is the same, right?
Yeah, so there's two. There's play-by-play
Play-by-play,
and there's color
colorcaster.
caster.
Okay.
Color caster are the like myself
Explanation
and Papa
person.
Smithy,
Yeah.
Vedius, yeah.
Vedius, and then the play-by-plays are
The hype.
the hype ones.
Yeah. Okay.
Dracos, Quickshot. So Quickshot, is he on your top 3? Is he just outside?
I really like. How I put him on my top 3, somewhere with them. Like
it kicking out
he
Kobe?
would just cast. Yeah, I think I would kick out Kobe and put Quickshot there. Sorry, Kobe. I would kick Kobe and put Quickshot so like we can have like a good trio cast.
There we go. I think also Papa Smithy, myself, and Quickshot hopefully gets to cast at MSI.
Hopefully.
Oh,
There we
We're
go.
going to see. That'd be a hype trio. All right, there is your totally made up EU LCS Awards, including also a caster tier list.
Actually came a lot more serious with the casters list than I expected.
Yeah, it was true. I kind of just expected randoms. I expected me to have to pine for someone's love. I didn't end up on the list. I expected
I
you
thought
to have
Perkz
to
would put
definitely pine.
himself on as well.
So as a recap, totally made up EU LCS Awards.
I could see myself do that.
Most handsome player is Cold. Best caster is Perkz, who would become the best caster. Worst play of the split, also Perkz. Biggest SoloQ troll is Caps. And then the top 3 caster list for Rekkles, it was Doa, Monte Cristo, and Medic. For Perkz, it was Papa Smithy, Deficio, and Quickshot for that excellent TriCast. And we can't forget that Rekkles is technically a runner-up in most handsome player.
Yes.
Yes.
And
Get me in
also
there.
Like a
biggest
fourth
SoloQ
one.
And
troll.
also biggest SoloQ troll. 'cause he needed
He's
to
somewhere
get on
down the list, but
He's
he's
somewhere
there.
there.
As long
like,
as
on
I
the
win the split,
paper,
I don't care.
Written down.
Otherwise, I'll be disappointed.
All right, and there's your totally made up EU LCS Awards. Next up is our quarterfinals review. We had Splyce versus Roccat this past week, as well as Vitality versus H2K. Splyce versus Roccat, 3-0 for Splyce. Absolutely just obliterated Roccat. At least that's what it looked like from my perspective. How did you guys feel about the series?
So I thought going into it that the difference between the teams would probably be bot lane. I thought Splyce would win the games because their bot lane was better. But when I watched the games, I actually felt like it was the opposite, where Rocket's top side was the one that was faltering. Like, especially Memento didn't seem to have a great series at all. Like, I couldn't even recognize the guy when he was playing the game, and neither Profit or Blank really did anything. So actually the saving grace for Rocket was their bot lane, which was really surprising because they have been the one reason why they haven't been more successful so far this split. So I was expecting a completely different series, but either way, I thought it would be a 3-0.
It was pretty interesting. Rocket's strategy was get a strong bot lane, put Noskaren on a playmaking support, ban away Tam Kench, even though Kasing almost
doesn't play it.
Never really plays Tam Kench, but they were like, we need to remove this one champion if you want to try and play around bot lane. So, like, the strategy kind of made sense because Kasing does play a lot of squishy supports you can try and kill. But I think maybe they got surprised about Morgana a little bit. Because in the first game, they were against Kate Morgana bot lane. Okay, maybe they could try and kill her. But then the second game, they picked the Thresh, and Morgana was still open. And then they actually stopped playing around bot lane, even though I think they can still do that. Yeah. They just stopped doing it and tried go for other lanes, and then just kind of backfired completely. And I 100% agree. Memento, and he said it himself on Twitter, had a really bad series, which is sad because he's kind of been the most important player on Rocket.
He felt like he was the rock for the team. And it's really weird to me that Caitlyn and Morgana made it through because it was kind of both EU and NA played it, right? As like the answer to Zyrakan, like from week 8 onward. So it's not like it was a surprise.
I think the Rocket Botlane was actually winning the lane as well.
Yeah, exactly. They were winning a matchup they shouldn't have won.
With Zyrakan against Caitlyn Morgana.
Yeah, you shouldn't win that lane.
So they were playing like better than I expected them to. But I expected Splyce to win as well, just 3-0.
I just thought when I saw like Rocket's bot lane winning almost every game that they could actually win this series, but then the top side was just, I don't know what they were doing. Yeah, they played like Skarner, Talia versus Cassidy and Sack, and they lost 2v2 mid. First game level 4.
God, yeah, man, that was
like when you see that as a bot lane on the replay, you're just so triggered
to watch, man.
Because probably you're like hindering yourself in draft just to get this advantage early game, and then the game is kind of lost already at level 4. Like
was
once
3-0 Cassidy.
And then to recap,
the game and Cassidy on like 12-0 or something. I don't know.
Yeah, Niski walked top at level 4 when Memento was recalling without flash on a ward. Then he died. Then
the whole game was so strange.
Memento walked bot lane to try and dive bot when Cassidy had TP ready again for the second time, and he just TP'd in and killed him again.
Cassidy got 2 kills before level 6.
Yes, he did.
That is not even false. I don't know how that is. And then Talia ran down enemy jungle and he got another kill.
He was also playing versus 2 people without flash, and he had his flash himself. He had flash after the situation in mid.
Yeah,
it was
he
only
was 3-0 after like minute 6 or something. I don't know. That game is unlosable. Like it's already won.
Yeah, so that was obviously pretty bad for Rocket. Game 2 was also kind of close in the start, but then once again they just kind of get outclassed the moment laning phase ends, which is a problem. And then game 3 they just kind of got stomped. So it ended up being pretty one-sided. A fairly quick day. We got to go home early, so that was something, I guess. But I always hope for 5 games, which is why day 2.
Day 2 was more exciting. I do want to ask one thing about Splyce versus Roccat. Do you think that Roccat could have beaten a team that wasn't Splyce? Like, could they have taken down H2K or Vitality?
I don't think so.
No.
I think they were the worst team in playoffs by far.
Yeah, I actually thought HK would be worse than Rocket in playoffs because I don't feel like HK have like a pattern in their play. I mean, their pattern in their play is that they don't do anything, right?
Yeah.
They just like legit fall over and then
it's pretty easy strategy to
wait
prepare
for enemy to fail, right? But Rocket actually has a plan in mind when they play the game, but they just didn't seem to be able to execute it on the day. Like they usually play through topside or through mid, but they weren't able to do anything topside, so they were playing through bot, which was first time, looked really awkward. So I thought Rocket would be a lot better than HK in their quarterfinals, but I also felt like it was maybe a worse match for them. Like I think if Rocket played Vitality, then they wouldn't have had their late game issues in terms of maybe like not including their bot lane as much because Vitality don't do it either. Usually, at least like in their quarterfinals, they were only playing through bot side, but I just thought that would be a better matchup for them. And H2K versus Splyce would have also been better for H2K because then they wouldn't have fallen so far behind in the early game.
weaker early game team.
So I think the matchups were just not that great for the lower seed teams.
Makes sense. I mean, tough spot to be in for sure. But you talk about kind of like H2K not having a plan in the early game.
I mean, we were really hoping to play them because when we were watching those games, we felt like H2K were only getting wins because Vitality.
Other individual players and Vitality not able to be.
I mean, they couldn't get Nash.
They couldn't get
properly
Nash,
or get tier 2s properly. So HK got back in the game by not actually doing anything.
Yeah, it's true. They just
like, I don't consider stealing Nash as doing anything. That's just your jungler goes,
enemy
goes
team
for
being
it,
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I felt like if we were to play HK in a semifinals, we just have no way of losing the game because we are gonna do something. We're not gonna screw up the Nash execute, and they don't have a way back into the game because they don't actually do anything. Like the only thing they did that series that looked out of the box was putting their top and mid together on a side lane and then trying to kill someone. Like I think the first game they put like Camille and Rice together on one lane, trying to kill people, but that was about it. Like otherwise, I just didn't see them doing anything out of the box. They just waited for enemy to do Nash, tried to steal it. If they stole it, then they could play the game. If they didn't, then they lost.
Yeah.
Do you think
there wasn't much more to it?
One thing that they did a lot in this series was take Ryze as a first pick on blue side. It says, and it wasn't clear to me if this was like entirely purposed as this is just a generally good pick and we want Selfie to be.
It's a Yusuke thing.
Yeah, you think so?
Ryze,
So yeah, that's my question, right? Is that like, is it worth taking a pick like that to deny Jizuke? Like, is his Ryze so good that you'd put Selfie on something that honestly he didn't look great at? He didn't look super comfortable at all, just to take it away from Jizuke?
I would have rather have seen them ban that and not ban the Asir because I don't think.
Agree. Asir ban was useless.
I don't think he would have picked Asir anyways. I think he would have just let it go through and maybe consider it like 4 or 5. But at that point, there's a lot of other priorities already anyways. So I'm not really sure if the Asir ban was for his champion pool or if it was actually Izuki relevant because I felt like it was more because of Selfie's champion pool where he wanted to play Orianna.
Yeah. Sure. I mean, there's definitely when a team bans Azir 5 games in a row, never adapts, never changes, no matter what side. It's clear they've come in with the idea that we have to ban this no matter what, and it doesn't matter if it's for Selfie or if it's for the enemy. I always dislike that one because I feel like in a best of 5 you have to be flexible, you have to be able to adapt. And Vitality as a team, the way they played almost every game was with a lot of focus on early game, a lot of focus on mids that can push and roam. Talia was picked 3 times by them. He was even picked into the caster then in the last game. So clearly, Azir is not the style of champion they were looking to play based on how they drafted.
Yeah, and not even in just drafting in that series, right? Through the entire season, they played through mid, right? And they I just don't get. If anything, you'd be more comfortable playing against Azir in the early game, knowing that they're probably not going to try to snowball through mid lane, and then you could focus somewhere else and leave Selfie on an island, right?
So definitely a reason for it. We just don't know it. But I think that was questionable. In general, though, I think going back to Rekkles, your point about H2K not doing anything, like, the early game was definitely weak. They had game 4 where they had 3 winning lanes basically, and they
were just killing people left and right. Like for example, Vitality went for the bot play and just. Like, I actually don't know what they were doing there. They were just...
It was bad.
Yeah.
So H2K snowballed that one. But I think them falling behind at 20 minutes was kind of the whole story and expected. Clearly some issues in terms of how to actually play the early game as a team. But for me, because Vitality have consistently been so bad at playing around Baron, I expected the series to go to 5 games. Because... Vitality in 2 of the games, the 2 games where they looked the cleanest, game 1 and game 5, they get the Baron based on H2K forcing a really dumb team fight around 20-22 minutes. Game 5 especially stands out. It Shook.
Shook got picked twice.
He just jumps in on Zac at the mid turret.
That was special.
And he just dies. So then Vitality goes Baron and H2K can't contest it. And then Vitality can get a clean Baron. And when they get it, they're pretty good at pushing down, getting all the objectives.
Yeah, they just have problem getting to that.
Exactly.
Really good from ahead.
So if you don't force that fight, which was completely unnecessary both times from H2K side, Vitality were forced to have to actually execute the Baron setup. And all the steps required for it. And that has been their biggest weakness for like 5-6 weeks now. So I just always felt like this series was going to be Vitality stomp H2K in the early game, Vitality then struggle around Baron, and half the games Vitality will get the Baron and they will win, and the other half they will lose the Baron and H2K will win. So we're going to go 5 games. And we did go 5. It went kind of like that, but not 100%. I think there were some counter throws by H2K and Shook rushing a Baron down at 40 minutes, which he didn't have to, but
I
those
think
kind of moments happen.
There was one game which HK should have won, so the series ended 3-1 for them. I'm not sure.
Game 2 is probably one you think about. They got back in the game. They had Tristana late
They won game 2. You think?
So game 3.
Yeah,
game 3.
yeah, exactly. They had Tristana versus Caitlyn, the game that they should have won. They were like sieging bot inhib, and then Sheriff got caught in the middle of a Talia W. I think that was game 3.
That was game 3. You're correct.
Yeah, I think if they won that game, then the series would have ended 3-1. But I just still feel like, HK shouldn't have won that series. They shouldn't even have taken a game in my mind. But I understand where you're coming from. It's just when I look at how Vitality played their early game and how HK are just resenting matching the pressure and instead just continuously go top and trade Herald for bot tower or Herald for Drake. I just feel like they don't deserve to win. So
Perkz, what do you think about Vitality?
Well, I screamed actually both of these teams before a semifinal, right? And I actually thought that HTK had that chance to win the series. I didn't think as Martin that it was gonna be so one side for Vitality. But I do agree that when they play on stage, they seem just to not have a plan, and they rely purely on individual players, like outplaying or playing to the champions' mechanics. Like, for example, I think that Selfie and Sheriff are actually pretty good mechanically, like the way they play team fights. They are just pretty good, but they are not, like, as you guys said, good as a team at like realizing where to be on the map or what to do or what is the game plan. So then we have high chances of winning the game. They mostly have high chances of outplaying opponents and then like winning late game. And that just showed in the series. And I think that Vitality is complete opposite to them. They have a plan and they execute it and they snowball mid, and the mid laner is carrying games actually. And the problem with Vitality is, like you guys mentioned, the Nash setup. So
and it's setup in general actually. I don't even think it's just Nash. It's just
for everything actually.
For Nash, you notice it the most.
Yeah, because it's the hardest to do.
Yeah, but when I see them sieging and stuff as well, they don't really have a setup either. They just kind of go for it and then
they're just randomly there. They're ignoring some ways.
Yeah,
they're just like
chaos style.
They're just not like they're doing it because they're not good enough to realize what they're doing wrong, or maybe they are realizing they're doing wrong, but they're still not good enough to realize in game what they should do, and that just shows from the inexperience of having all rookies and the players who have never reached far in playoff or even been to playoff. I don't know. So it's really hard for them to actually step up to a performance where they can beat Fnatic, I think. So yeah, it's gonna be hard for Vitality.
What is it Vitality is doing so well in the early game? Like, I think we all see a lot of things. I just want to hear it from your guys.
They're just really good individually, and their micro is nice. Like when you see them skirmishing and playing these 2v2s mid, for example, they actually play the situations out almost perfectly every time. So I think it's just few players in Europe that can stand up to this pressure early game, and I think we can be one team, but at the same time we are also notorious for not being able to be the one team. So I'm a little bit worried, to say the least. I mean, I should be worried, right? If I'm not worried, then something is not right. I cannot go into a semifinals thinking that's going to be easy. So yeah, we'll see. But I think if we can survive the early game, we should be more than fine because our macro is better than theirs. So if it gets to the mid game and we're on even grounds or even slightly behind, we should be okay. It's just if they get the snowball rolling, then it might be hard to put an end to it, and might end up like the regular season games where we are actually technically 0-2. I mean, we still a game, but
yeah,
we should be 0-2 against them in the regular season.
Game, yeah.
So we got probably the worst opponent that we could ask for. I think if we played against Splice or G2, we would have been much better off than if we played against Vitality. But I said this already on PGL, so most people are
Doesn't
aware.
matter. Can always repeat it.
Yeah.
Always a good thing to hear. Well, I think we've looked back at quarterfinals, and now to kind of intro our discussion on semifinals, we want to do something special. This is something we do on PGL. It's called 1v1 Me. It's similar to the old Death Timers format, but basically 60 seconds to make an argument is the core theme of it. And what we want to do is we can obviously ask you to make an argument for my Fnatic when it'll be something about your team, and that's great. But people know that you're gonna make that argument in game. Instead, what I want to happen is I would like for you, Rekkles, to tell me why Splice will beat G2, and for you, Perkz, to tell me how Vitality beat Fnatic.
And what if I don't believe?
Oh no, that's never been a problem. Think of this
Come on, Spice can beat G2.
Convince me.
You can
I
find
want-
something.
I want you to just give whatever it is. Just go.
All right.
You don't have to fully believe in yourself.
Hold on. Here's the deal. Your analytical reputation is in no way at stake. I just like if I am someone who knows not as much about League of Legends, I want to be 100% convinced that Splice are going to smash G2 or the Vitality are going to beat Fnatic.
Quick warning: 1 minute is very long. It doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're going there,
I'll just go for it. You can stop me when
you just go
I'll stop
nuts.
you. You just go in. You just go in. Do either one of you want to go first?
I can go first. It's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you're gonna
go first.
Okay, Rekkles. You're gonna. You feel ready? You feel good?
Yeah, it's okay. I'll get started.
All right. You're gonna convince me why Splice is gonna beat G2 with 1 minute starting now.
In scrims, they play really aggressive, but the games we played on stage, they didn't do as much. So I think in a best of 5, there's not going to be more than maybe 1 or 2 games where they pressure hard through topside, and it will be a long game where the AD carries become relevant. And when that is the case, I feel like Splice is a better team than G2 because I don't think G2 involves their bot lane too much, and they play a lot of safe picks that can just work on their own. So I think if Splice can survive for 30-35 minutes, then they should be able to win this series.
And Perkz suck.
You had 12
And
seconds.
this guy sucks.
Perkz is pretty good. I mean, I think they should have a mid-pressure lead. Okay, I'm out.
And done.
Yeah, you're good.
I'm
You're good.
gonna
I got that in. So
All right. Okay. Wait. Before you go, do you have a rebuttal? Is there anything you want to say to Rekkles' 1 minute argument?
I don't know. His argument was pretty serious and pretty fair to say.
I couldn't find much else.
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
was
I
pretty,
think
he
they're
was pretty
superior
fair to
in
say.
that.
was using lies.
Like mine is gonna be a lot more harsher than that one. That's for sure.
Okay. All right.
Can I say something though about G2 spot lane? Because I feel like I'm always flaming them whenever we're talking about G2. So I want to say something actually. So for scrims, they've actually been playing really well, I think. Much better than in the regular season. I actually think they're pretty good now. But they still have this issue where they play relatively away from bot lane. Like they don't really include them too much. So we might see the same on stage, but I think we should have a more solid lane performance out of Wadid and Yarnan. At least judging from scrims, they play much better now.
All right. We can talk more about the specifics of the matchup for sure, because we definitely want to give people more of a
got
discussion
the
than
semifinals
just
preview.
wanna make
just
sure
60
my voice
seconds.
feels a little
Yeah.
bit better because I know I'm always flaming them and I always feel bad about it. So because I like the dudes,
Yeah.
I think Wadid and Yarnan are cool guys, so I don't want to.
We can ask
Hard
Perkz why he
playing
hates
every
his
time.
bot lane.
We will. But
They
first,
always
I mean, he has
Perkz-
Wunder Janko's
Guys,
top side,
yeah,
so I would
guys.
understand if you want to play towards that side.
you got to remember, Perkz is ready. I see he's sitting there. He's
Oh,
ready
he's
to
so
go.
ready.
He's got his I Love Carlos shirt on.
I feel like he's gonna flame me again.
I took a shot of coffee just
Why is everyone
before.
flaming me today?
Okay,
No
you
one's
know what?
flaming
No
you.
one.
I feel like I'm getting enough on Reddit already.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so I'm ready.
You ready?
I'm waiting for
All
the
right.
clock.
And argument for why Vitality is going to beat Fnatic from Perkz starting now.
Okay, so why Fnatic is gonna be Vitality is why Vitality is gonna be Fnatic.
There we go.
That's a wrong start. Well, first of all, Caps seemed to be card choking against Zizuke both times he played, or Gilius. I don't think Caps can handle Gilius Zac or Gilius Trundle or Gilius anything. So maybe Gilius is just a counter pick to Caps. That's gonna be mid jungle is heavily in favor of Vitality. And I think from playing against Fnatic mid jungle for so many times, I have never had problems against them. And as much as I actually respect Caps, I think that right now he's worse than he's ever been before. Or I don't feel like he's doing anything special right now. So mid jungle favor goes into Vitality, and the bot lane of Vitality is playing now better than they were before in terms of how they're actually playing together. And I think the Vitality will snowball through bot lane and mid, and they will take over game from there.
Nice, done.
Nice ending.
Actually, I agree on the Vitality bot lane thing because in the regular season they were playing a lot through top lane. They were playing a lot of carries.
Cabo
But-
got counterpick every game.
In the quarterfinals, they were playing only tanks top lane.
Yes.
And I think they only ganked once in 5 games. The first game, level
Trundle
3 or
one.
level 4,
Yep.
Trundle was top. And ever since then, I did not see Gilius top side whatsoever. They were always trading bot tower for top tower. And they were always winning the game because they were playing tank matchup top in the last 3 games. I think the first 2 games were playing against Camille, and that's when they were struggling top side. But then they banned Camille, played tank versus tank, and just completely ignored their top laner. And it looked pretty okay for a team that used to play the opposite style, right? So I was surprised.
I mean, I just think that when I would see Vitality bot lane play in the regular season, I would actually think they are pretty meh, and I don't know why.
Yeah, I mean, they were playing like Cage and Thresh
I don't know
farming a
why
tower,
you would
so-
rate them high. For example, I would say Draktroll was the worst support performer in the split. Like, or they found the worst. Let's say like top 3 the worst.
But I don't think they're worse. I mean, I don't think they're better now. I don't think they were worse before. I think they've always been the same skill. It's just they play different as a team now and involves their bot lane a lot more. And also,
that could be more. Yeah.
a lot of my judgment before came from Scrims and SoloQ because they play a lot of duo queue together, and I often end up against them, and they play very different. I mean, I mentioned this last time I was here.
Yeah,
they
do play very well in solo queue.
Yeah,
like when I
pretty
see them in
good
solo
players.
queue, they actually play really well in solo queue.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Can they beat the
So
Rekkles
I just thought it
Perkz
was a matter
duo?
of time.
I
No,
think
no one can.
No one can beat the Rekkles Perkz duo.
I think it would actually be like the best bot lane.
Like my Janna is next level.
My
I'm
Lucian
serving
with
some
his
V2.
Jada, like we really cannot lose. Like we only lose when I'm trolling or when he's dying level 1.
Yeah.
He died level 1 3 games in duo.
Okay,
level 1.
all
But I
asked-
am aggressive. Like I walk up and W, and then if they want to fight me, I need my AD carry to walk up as well. Like he's supposed to be the aggressive guy in this relationship, and I am the one
Right.
walking up first.
Janna who skills
So-
W and just does that and nothing else and just
I'm
hits
just-
So
people.
out to W out, and then I get 3 stacks.
all I ask is all the viewers are gonna beg you to stream this. So at some point in the
Yes.
off season, you know, post MSI, because I assume one of you will be going. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. Stream some of the duo, the bot lane action. People want to see the Rekkles Perkz bot lane. I guarantee it.
This is a really good eagle.
I am insane. Like my support is same level as my AD. So if you see Pontus Dahlberg on support in SoloQ,
Didn't you
Yeah,
talk
but-
about role swapping once?
yeah,
No, but if you see Sweet and Salty on AD carry, I actually think
Sweet and
if we roll swapped, like we will be a good bot lane.
yeah, I did actually.
Yeah, because you
But,
wanted to be support at
yeah.
some point, right?
I just felt like, wait, was it after season 4? I think it was after season 4 that my skill set as a player at that time was more relevant for a support player than it was for an AD carry because I did not have the fire I have now. You know, I was kind of passive, so to say, KDA player, so to say. I don't know what people said back then, but I think that was the most used terms.
KDA play might have been used once.
Yeah. And
8 times.
I felt like as a support, it would just fit much better because I think my communication was more than fine. My macro knowledge was really fine, so I could easily control the game from a support perspective. But from AD carry perspective, I was more just going with the flow, which I think
Yeah.
is not what you need from AD. I think your AD carry needs to do more than just follow. I think
Yeah.
like the requirements of AD carry that is top 3 in his role should be higher than just following.
Oh, you have to be able to carry.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think people that follow usually are the
Yeah.
ones to end up carrying because they're just fighting until everyone dies and then they die themselves, sort of thing. They don't go first or whatever.
Perkz,
Role swap.
would you ever be an AD carry player?
If I was to roll up, I would for sure be AD carry player. I was thinking about it before. I really like this game, like League of Legends. So I would really like to play another role sometimes. Even though,
Prove your worth.
yeah, I mean, I like the challenge, you know. I actually like the challenge, but I feel like that I want to reach something with midlane that is like really high goal, like winning worlds, for example. But as much as it's hard, I think I always will think it's possible, and I always think that I have the skill set and I'm good enough to be the best in the world. And if ever something changes that I just would like to roll up, I would go AD carry. I was thinking about jungle, but I feel like that my AD carry could be really good.
I like it.
Because I just like to play Lucian.
So you just illusion one trick. You can be a top laner then as well.
Oh god. And those Lucian jungle
Just
comes out. I
Lucian
like
one
that you're on that Michael Jordan career trajectory. You want to be the best of the best of the best, and then
then-
for some reason you want to go play baseball afterwards. No one's quite sure why. In this case, it's Lucian bot instead of baseball.
But it would be kind of cool, right? Like imagine you're like one of the best mids, or in my case, one of the best ADs, and then you role swap support and become, or in my case, yeah, role swap support, become one of the best supports.
Exactly.
That would create a unique brand or like meaning
You
of
get
you as a
all
player.
pro AD carry, then all pro support, then MVP AD carry,
same goes for
MVP
you.
support.
And then also like
then you
you
go
have like
coach.
you have like two of the biggest brands in Europe. Roll something to other roles, playing together.
That would be good.
But I don't think I need to anymore. I think now I'm pretty damn good as AD, so I don't
I think
need to
you're all right. You know, first all pro in EU.
potential MVP candidate. hopefully,
Potential
maybe.
MVP candidate.
Who knows? Who knows?
A lot of people seem to
Who
think
Would I
he's
be the
already
first to win back to back?
No, you will not. You're
People
too
have done
focused
that
for it.
before.
Like Trix has been there already.
Yeah, Trick got
You're
double
so behind on
MVP.
that tree.
But he's Korean. I'm talking European.
Oh, so we're only European players.
Okay, all right.
Because I already saw the Reddit thread about the Koreans, so.
Yeah. Trick got double MVP,
I
plus
know
he
I'm
won the
late.
split twice. in a
Faker
row.
already did 2013, 2014, so I'm like 4 years late.
No. All right, back on to the discussion for semifinals. We kind of hit it 60 seconds for each team. We talked a little bit about the G2 bottom lane. How close are these matchups actually going to be? You kind of talked about being scared in yours. Like, Vitality's the worst team that you can play, Rekkles. I'm curious, for you, Perkz, how do you feel about playing up against Splyce? Like, what are your impressions of that team currently?
I mean, for me, I think Splyce is the best matchup we could get out of the other two teams.
Mm-hmm.
And like when I see Splyce mid jungle, I think they're not bad players, but I think that Jankos and I understand and play the game on a much higher level than they do, and we also have a lot more experience than they do. So we should be able to outperform them. And I don't even put pressure on myself by doing this or saying this because I expect myself already to do that, you know? So if we don't outperform them, it's just completely up to us. And also, I think top matchup is like so imbalanced. Like Wunder is really crazy good right now. People actually have no idea. So I cannot actually see us losing to Splyce, even though there's always a chance, right? Like I could see us losing to Vitality or Fnatic, but like not even Vitality, like mostly Fnatic, you know. But I cannot see us actually losing to Splyce. It has to be us underperforming to lose to Fnatic. Like in terms of our skill level, right? Like our raw skill level.
Okay.
It has to be us underperforming to lose to Splyce. That's how I see it.
Talk
right?
to me then about your most recent week in LCS. It was a little bit of a struggle, or it felt like a little bit of a struggle. So I'm curious, was that underperforming as well? Where do you feel like you've best shown that top level G2 play in the regular season, or is it not shown up?
I think we are just like we're just not a good team, right? I mean, I don't think Splyce is a good team either, though. I think they've been massively overhyped. I mean, not overhyped, more like overrated. They were never hyped.
Drakers.
So they were actually like really overrated, I think, at the end of the split, even though they're like not bad players, not a bad team, right? But still a bad team. Like it's hard for me to explain how I view it, but
why don't we just talk about like what to you makes a good team, not like Splyce or G2 or any other team. Let's just talk in purely theoretical. What makes a good team? What do they have to have in order to be a good team for your standards?
They just have to have a lot of good macro, good individual players, good drafts, good preparation, like good mental fortitude. It's more like they have to spend time together in order to, unless they're all like top in the like players who played on the best teams and group together, like let's say KT or something, you know, who have been really good since the start, right? More like
macro's been kind of shaky. Anyway,
like last year, you know. But SKT, for example, new players, really bad for half of the split, and now they're starting to go up again. It's important to play for long together, so you can fix your problems, fix communication, fix game understanding, fix drafts, fix the way you actually play the game, and improve on it, right? But for Splyce and us, we are both. I don't feel like we are both at a very high level, and I think Fnatic is the only team it's like for sure on a high level right now, right? And I think other teams can win against Fnatic. I wouldn't say that they're unbeatable, but they are like on a higher level than other teams right now. And
just to jump in real quick, there are very few teams in the world at the moment who we can call a good team then. If it's based on having all these different criteria met.
Well, and that's what I'm curious is it for you, is it they have to hit every one of those criteria? If they have a weakness in any one, would you consider them not a good team?
I mean,
okay.
I've been on the G2 that's been dominant for 2 years, and I know when we are bad, what's wrong, and I know when we were good, this is what all we were good at. All of these things I mentioned, we were good at. So I basically like, I know how to create success in our team environment and how we play, but it is not always easy to achieve that, and on contrary, like it is super hard to actually win every split in a row.
Yeah.
So I think we have chance again this year, but this year, like this split right now, it's lower chance than we ever had before, right? Like normally, because Fnatic has been here for 1.5 years now, and they really want to win as well. But they want to win as well, so we still have a chance to win, just lower than usually, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
So that's how I view it.
For me, I would probably judge a good team by their cohesion as a unit. So what I mean with that is like, if they are an aggressive team, then everyone should be aggressive. There shouldn't be one guy that's like playing passive or just chilling in the background. Like if they are all aggressive, they become cohesive because they're attacking together, you know. And I think, for example, for us, our cohesion comes from our macro knowledge. Like we play really good together on the map. Our flow on the map is pretty good, where we like pressure the right objectives, we push the right waves. You know, we do things really well together and get leads slowly but surely. Kind of the Joey style. You know, he did it with you guys as well. And for Splice, I think their cohesion is pretty decent too. I think they play really well around their jungler, like with Xerxes. I think whenever Xerxes is around a specific lane, they play really well with him. And for G2, I would say their cohesion got better too, because you guys were kind of leaving your bot lane behind before, but now when we play against you guys, I feel like they're actually involved in the game. Like
it's true.
They're much more aligned with how they play the game. So now, for example, I respect G2 a lot more because now they become cohesive in my mind, where they have no weakness that we can attack. You know, if they're making a play, they're all five there. And I think that's what separates the good teams from the bad teams. And that's why I think actually all the 4 teams that are left in EU are pretty good, because even though they are unique in their way of playing the game, they're still cohesive, you know. Vitality is a really aggressive team. They're all aggressive.
Everyone is on the same page.
Yeah, in the beginning it was easier to play against Vitality because they were also leaving their bot lane out. They were just playing through topside with their mid-top jungle, and then the bot lane would just be whatever, right? But now when you watch their quarterfinals, they were actually really cohesive. They were all aligned with the game plan. Like top lane was willing to make the sacrifice to play on his own island, and the other 4 were playing really aggressive and making a lot of good stuff happening on the map early game.
I think it's a really good point he made, and it's
that's why
I see it kind of same as him, but I see it in a more complicated and deeper way, where
It also feels like, Perkz, you're judging from a world-class level.
No, yeah,
and not an EU LCS level.
I'm not judging
right?
from an EU LCS level.
Yeah,
I just think
he's won 4 times in a row, so
he's like international.
For me,
and
it's
you're
like
EU
if I win
LCS
EU,
level.
it feels kind of like winning Worlds right now, because I'm unable to achieve it. I haven't even gotten a finals for 2.5 years now. So for me, already getting there would be a big step forward in my career again, right? So I understand from his perspective, he's probably looking at Worlds material. And for me, I'm just looking at how can we win the European LCS. And I think we have, for sure, like the chances to do it now. But as I mentioned before, we have a pretty bad matchup into Vitality, I think. And they looked a lot better in their quarterfinals than they did during the regular season, just because I think they flipped their game plan to be more fitting for a best of 5 series. I think it was really risky to play around your top laner only in a best of 5 series, because you can't always get counter pick. You can't always get a lead through top lane, because many of the times top lane is irrelevant anyways. So I think, the flip up in game plan there is definitely a good sign.
I agree in the first 20 minutes in most of the games, they look better.
Yep.
But I still think everything past 20 minutes, they looked bad.
And that's why I think we're going to make finals. I'm just saying, there's a chance we lose if we don't play out the first 20 minutes properly. But
Exactly.
if we get past that, then it should be up to us, basically, not to win the game. Because we have the knowledge in our heads, and we played long enough now together to execute a mid-late game.
I'm
decently.
curious, from both your perspectives, I know obviously you think Fnatic's going to win, you think G2's going to win. Do you both think that it's going to just be the G2 Fnatic finals?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It should be.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, unless we lose it, right? Because I still can't see really Fnatic losing. So there's how you read it again. It's like there's higher chance that we lose to Splice than Vitality to Fnatic to Vitality.
Yeah.
But as the chances are looking, it's gonna be Fnatic G2 finals, which is like kind of waited for since last year, because Fnatic was like a pretty good team. I mean, they were not a good team. They were just really good individual players last year, right? And
we should have made finals in spring. We should have beaten you guys in
you
the
guys should
finals.
have not made finals.
We had this discussion last time.
You guys should have really not made finals.
We had this exact discussion.
We should have been 2-0 up in that series.
No, you guys should have really not made finals that split. You guys had no chance. We had only one champ, and you guys could not win.
But the second game, we have 10k gold.
Aurelion sold one, and you guys
Yeah,
could not
okay,
win.
sure. I mean, that might have helped, right? But the first two games, we had the same drafts.
Yeah.
Both games. The only difference was the support. We played Siren in game 1 and Annie in game 2 and we lane swapped, right?
Yeah.
But regardless of all that, we were 10k up in game 2. And I died, I think, ceasing your tier 3 bot or something to Camille. Because my support was not buying Locket for me. He was buying AP. So I think
give him
that
Annie.
series was completely winnable. Like, we might as well have won that second game. Being 2-0 up, and maybe you make changes in draft, sure. But we're still 2-0 up
Yeah, ban Aurelion sold.
against G2 Esports.
we've been kind of all over the place, and I want to use this as a
Yeah,
chance.
we didn't get to talk a lot about the match.
No, that's okay. And I think because we had a lot of Twitter questions, so I do want to have a chance to get one as long as we're talking about like the past and present of EU LCS. This one is from Ronald at Woonowooey. You guys have really complicated tags. What are your guys' thoughts on the level of competition the EU LCS currently has? Has the current split been more or less competitive than previous splits or seasons, and how so?
I think there's still bad teams though. I don't think that's ever gonna disappear. However, like there's not enough good players. I mean, actually, there's a lot of good players, but
It's not enough good teams.
And
good teams and
not
star
enough
players.
leaders. Like
Yeah.
not enough like just knowledgeable players that can lead a team, or even coaches, because just it's hard to get in the West, right?
I think it's impossible to get 10 really good teams, but at the same time, I can understand that because the good teams want the good players, right?
Yeah.
And the good players want to play with each other.
Of course.
So, of course, the top teams are going to get stacked because, like, if you're a star player, you want to play with a star player, you know? You don't want to just fill out a role in a lower tier team just to have a star player in each. Like, you wouldn't want to risk your career
But
for that,
it's
right?
also harder for a team to get good at playing macro than getting someone who's mechanically pretty skilled.
Yeah.
Like, you can find a lot of mechanically good players in SoloQ.
Yeah.
It's really hard to find someone, as Perkz said, who's actually really smart about the game and can lead a team.
Well, 'cause you don't-
But I think that's gonna become easier once League of Legends has been around for a while, because then people are gonna retire and go into a coaching position.
More coaches.
And if you have an ex-pro as a coach, is very different than if you have the usual the usual stuff that we have these days. I think there's a lot of coaches that don't do their job properly. And once like let's say if I coach a team, I think that would be a lot more interesting than if you had someone that hasn't had any experience whatsoever in playing on a high level.
Do you think that's actually an interesting discussion, because I think that's something that comes up a lot.
What about
Okay.
the question?
All right. You're right.
We can sit here for 5 hours, by the way.
God, this is
We
the
haven't
trap.
even
I
talked
love
properly
having, I
about
love
the
having you
semifinals,
both. Yeah,
yes.
but we haven't even talked about the semifinal. Okay, here's the
question.
Let's round it out. So has this split been more or less competitive than past splits?
Yeah,
I would say
it
more.
has more competitive.
Yeah.
How much?
But better teams is like
I don't think the teams were so much better. I think it was the mix of new teams combined and the mix of meta changing every 2 weeks, like literally not even like small changes, like actually really big
Okay.
changes that will make teams shift from being really good at this to not able to adapt this fast, and making teams that are like good at something just be bad next patch until they improve again, and then someone would actually like be better at that patch, and then that's why the teams are so close in standings, and that's why the standings are as close as they are, right? Because of that's what I think, at least.
Was
because
it
of
too many changes?
Because of too many changes,
there's always
Okay.
too
too
many
fast.
changes.
No, but I think this time around it was like actually more than ever, right?
I do. Yeah, I
I
kinda
think there's always too many changes. Like I think it's really hard to put in the extra hours for the regular season, because you know that the patch is gonna get changed anyways for playoffs. So it's kind of like normal for pro players to go easy on the 10 weeks. Like if you make playoffs anyways, why would you push
Okay.
yourself and then just put in an extra gear for playoffs, because that's when the patch remains the same. Like we've played for 8.5 now for a while, and you can see live server is 8.6 and the AD carry role is not AD carry anymore, by the way. It's like Yin with Guinsus.
Yeah.
So when I'm playing SoloQ now, I feel like the game is already so different than the one I'm going to be playing on stage on Saturday. So
it is.
I think up until playoffs, there's just no point really to dive deep into the patch, and there's just way too many changes, and it's not even worth to like adapt to them, So you just focus on being good as a team, like the core values of how you need to function as a team, like communication, all the stutter stuff
Yep.
everyone always mentions. So I think that's what most people put their emphasis on. But I would say though there's been more good teams this split than usual. Like usually there's like 2 or maybe 3, if we're lucky, good teams. But I think this split there's been, the 4 that are remaining are the good teams that have always been kind of good. I mentioned last time I was here, Splice was good, and you guys were not that hyped yet, but then
Then we jumped on the hype train, and
To be-
now
okay,
we
to
can
be
be
fair,
forced
everyone
away
likes
from the hype
Splice,
train.
we doubted Splice for a very long time, so they did win out in the end, though.
but I feel like I'm always cheating you guys, because I have the scrim knowledge, and I know that what people are doing in scrim, if they have the right environment, is eventually gonna show on stage. So when I was here with you guys last time, we were scrimming a lot of Splice games, right? And I told you that they would eventually become really good, and it took them like 2 weeks to figure out the early game, right? And then they become
The secret is out. This is why we invite
much
Rekkles.
better.
So we figure out who's going to be good for that week and we can predict him to win.
All right. I do want to hit off, though. Thank you again for the Twitter question. Meta, interesting how it has an effect. But I do want to focus up for one final look at these semifinals. I know we get to talk a lot about it on broadcast, but we've heard kind of you guys argue for the opposite team. I do want to hear you now make kind of a quick argument for yourselves. It doesn't have to be 60 seconds, but so starting with you, Perkz, how do you see G2 beating Splyce? What is the focus here? And of course, don't give anything away in terms of scrim details or otherwise, but how confident are you? What score do you expect to have? Kind of those things.
I think we are just playing a little better than ever as a team right now, and we are communicating a little better, and our macro understanding is on a higher level right now than it was before, and everyone is so willing to improve and win, and it's same for every team, right? Hopefully at least, but I think that we have an edge in terms of in-game leadership over Splyce, and I think if we prepare, for best of series, preparation is very important. Preparation and adaptation, right? So I think we should be able to prepare and adapt better than them, and I can see us winning 3-1 this series really comfortably.
Mm-hmm. Just to add in some quick thoughts from the outside regarding this matchup, Splyce, they will have a problem in the early game that the one lane teams have tried to attack against G2 was the bot lane, but the one lane that never wins early, or at least not the last many, many weeks, is Splyce's bot lane. The way they've gotten advantages is go top 24/7 with Xerxes, get Odamna ahead on a carry has been very successful, but that's what G2 are going to do. And as Perkz said before, it's going to be quite a battle between Odamna and Wonder. He thinks obviously Wonder is going to have the upper hand. I want to see it first. I can see Xerxes Odamna be successful in some of the games, but I think generally the trio of Perkz, Jankos, and Wonder should win topside. And because the bot lane should not really be struggling against Copy and Kasing in the laning phase, then it becomes pretty difficult unless Splyce shows us something new. Maybe they play around bot side. They change it up or something. But I think if they want to consistently win early games against G2, they have to change something. Late game, however, and I'm not confident that G2 will cleanly close out every single game because we haven't seen them play in 2 weeks. And when we saw them, it was a bit of a rough patch and moment for G2. I can see some late games where Splyce can actually come back. I agree with Perkz, though, when it comes to predicting. And I was originally on 3-2 for G2, but I think 3-1 the more I think about it, and also based a little bit on the quarterfinals. But again, I haven't seen G2 in scrims, so I can just trust the Perkz is telling me and Rekkles is telling me they're looking great.
Our scrims are hit or miss. Honestly, our scrims are not that great, but we are the way we are playing, just the way that we are communicating and giving feedback and playing together is we lose or win as a team now. Before it was more we would lose lanes and not do anything and just go roll over and probably just die. But now when we lose lanes, we do stuff as a team, and when we win lanes as a team. Right? It's more of a team thing instead of an individual thing, or like Rekkles said, leaving our bot lane behind and not communicating well enough with them and just giving them up and going topside or something. This stuff shouldn't happen anymore, right? So I just have a lot more confidence in us and competence in us that we are actually a good team now compared to what we were 2-3 weeks ago. So I can see us playing a lot better than we were.
So
it's good to know.
I do. I want to kind of round out the G2 versus Splyce discussion with some predictions. Perkz 3-1. Feeling good. Deficio, you said you were feeling 3-2. Now you're feeling 3-1. You're jumping back and forth.
I am going 3-2 G2.
I'm going 3-0 G2.
You're going 3-0.
I think they're going to smash in 3 games.
All right, I'm going 3-2 with Deficio here. I feel like Splyce... I'm willing to believe, kind of like you are, that Oda Wamne will get outclassed by Wonder, but I have to see it.
Oh, you mean Perkz or me?
Yeah, you were saying...
I didn't say he was going to get outclassed.
No, you said you're willing to believe that Wonder can just...
I just think that if it's over 5 games, I think the Wonder, Jankos, Perkz trio is going to win more early games than the Splyce one.
Sure. I'm actually willing to just 100% believe that Wonder can outclass Oda Wamne. I just want to see it.
What about the in-game leadership that you mentioned before? That's Jankos, right? A lot of Jankos. Because when I played with him with All-Stars, he was really talkative.
He's
very
just
outspoken.
a very good early game leader.
Yeah.
His early game leading is honestly really, really insane. And his plan
Yeah, that's what I
making
felt as
and
well when I
everything.
played with him.
Like his early game is just really crazy good. And we had problems of what to do actually after early game. And we are just working together to make our early game plans more better. And after 20 minutes, if we struggle with macro, I can step in really easily. And it's right now everyone else has bigger understanding of the game, like higher understanding of the game as well. So it's easier for me to just focus on myself compared to as before. I would actually have a lot of random deaths because I would look at what my teammates are doing all the time in the game. I would not look at what I was doing, and I would try to micromanage everyone on the map. Well, I should stop doing that, and now I have a lot more trust as well. So it's just better for me as an individual. Like I can easier show my star power when my team is good than when I am focused, like playing for everyone.
Makes
I was
sense.
just curious. I
Yeah.
had a
Yeah.
lot of good memories with Janko, so I wanted to ask.
I mean, I think it's a good thing to ask because it's not something that we check in with a ton. And it's one of those things where, like, we're always towing the line when we invite you guys on right before your match about, like, asking too deep of questions, giving things away from how a team works or what they're prepping. So, I mean, good to hear kind of that insight. Now on the opposite side, though, Fnatic versus Vitality, I want to get some predictions as well. Before we do that, Rekkles, I'd like to hear... You've voiced a lot of like fears for how you lose to Vitality. Let's see how
Well,
do
I'm
you
not
win?
scared. I think we can beat them, you know?
Yeah.
I don't think it's like...
Is it a 3-0 like you predicted for G2 versus Splice?
No. I think our early game is not good enough to win 3 games cleanly, but I think at the same time we should not be able to lose 3 early games. So
I mean, you might lose
I would
3 early
call it-
games, but then you come back later.
yeah, exactly. I don't think like 3 early games will make 3 games lost. you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
I think we should, worst case, be able to... I mean, I would predict like 3-2 for us, yeah.
3-2.
Really?
Oh, okay.
I think we're
I
gonna
would do it 3-1 as well.
I'm on
Fnatic.
3-1 Fnatic.
3-1 Fnatic.
There's one game where Vitality will snowball early.
Yeah. I think at one game for sure.
Yeah,
right?
they
Like,
get the Baron, looks good, they
like
win. It
the-
might be the first game, and
Yeah,
everyone
like
panics.
the one game,
you know?
I'm pretty sure they will do it. But like the other games, Fnatic should step up, and there's gonna be one game where they're gonna snowball early game, but they're not gonna get a Nash.
Exactly.
And Fnatic's gonna come back. Like I can really see all these things happening. Yeah, 3-1 Fnatic.
I don't know. I just feel like I also have a bit of PTSD from last year. You know, there's like semifinals in general. Like, there's been a lot of semifinals since I was successful. I guess. I mean, you can still consider me a successful individual because I've still achieved a lot, right? Even though we haven't won anything, I've still made it far in a lot of tournaments I've participated in. But I still feel this PTSD from semifinals because 2016 semifinals we lost to you guys. 2017 both semifinals we lost.
One Misfits, one G2,
Yeah. So now we're here again.
Not really a good track record against G2.
Exactly.
But so tell me and tell the Fnatic fans why this team is going to be different in the semifinal. Like, what is it?
Because we have Joey.
Joey is the factor.
Yeah.
He's the main
I
one.
think our biggest issue actually last year in the semifinals, I think 2016 semifinals, we should have lost that one. We were not a good team in 2016 spring. So it was understandable that we dropped that series to you guys, regardless of how the team were at the time. I think there's just no way we win 3 Nexuses against you guys. Like you guys were way too good at that time. So that was okay with me. I was okay with losing that semifinals. I felt like we didn't deserve to be there in the first place anyways. Like I think the IEM tournament was cool and everything. We got second there and it was all good, but we randomly beat Vitality in our quarterfinals that spring split. And we shouldn't have done that either. So it was just a surprise to be there in the first place. But for last year, I think we deserved to be in semifinals both splits. Even the spring one where we just made it by one game. I still felt like we deserved it, and I felt like the reason why we didn't win either of those series was because we couldn't pull it together when it really mattered. You know, we were getting stressed out. Our mental game wasn't in the best state. I felt like we were just putting way too much pressure on ourselves as well. Like, for example, in the Misfit series last summer, we were just expected to smash them 3-0.
Yeah.
Not only from the outside, but from
You guys
ourselves
yeah,
as
also
well.
expecting
Okay.
yourselves.
So as soon as we gave up like 1 kill in the early game, in game 1, it was already boom, you know.
Wow.
It was already, how do we win? It was already, those questions being asked. And I think when you get to that point, it's really hard to pull it together unless you have someone from the outside that has the control, you know. Like we were kind of in control last year as players, and I think we didn't have like a front figure within the team other than myself. Maybe, I mean, me and Jessis and Soas were kind of veterans, but at the same time, I felt like we were also emotional. So it was hard to pull the team together, and be like the guy that does everything.
Your argument, and I like all this. I like the history and the context here as to why the guy on the outside is important. But just to be clear, your final message to Fnatic fans as to why you're going to win semifinals, you're going to make it to finals is, we have Young Buck.
Exactly. I think.
Damn.
We were a good
Shout
team
out to
last
Young
year,
Buck, though.
and we're a good team now. The only difference is that now we will not tilt, and we will not fall short, regardless of how the first game goes, regardless of how the second game goes. The series will end when there's 3 games won by either team. It's not going to be like last year. And that's because of Joey.
I think that's a very good message. Very good
That's a good
message to
statement.
the fans, because that is actually one of the concerns I see a lot of people have. Is it's hard to, you can look at all the numbers and all the games Fnatic have played and said they are the best team. But if, as you said, if you guys just collapse after one game, then it doesn't matter, right?
Because I felt like it was actually the same when we guys played you guys in the spring split last year of the semifinals. Because we won the first game really convincingly. The second game we had 10k gold lead, and then we threw it, right? And normally after the second game, you just feel like, oh, we just threw the game. We can just win the series 3-1, right?
Yeah.
But we felt like the series was
Lost.
Lost.
Yeah, I saw you guys' faces
after
and
the
it was
second
really
game.
doomed, yeah.
And when you think back at it, it's crazy how it can be like this, because we were 1-1 in a series that should have been 2-0. So there's no reason for us to ever.
I mean, it kind of makes sense
Feel
because
stressed
you
out.
guys are kind of like.
I mean, we're cheesy.
You guys
sure.
are cheesy, and you're using picks.
But we were good.
You guys were.
we
yeah,
were
yeah,
playing
yeah. You guys
good
were.
League
You
of
guys were playing
Legends.
good. Yeah. I mean, you guys are playing good together. You guys were not a bad team. Yeah, exactly.
And it was
But
same for
was
summer.
like
We were playing good League of Legends as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
So there's no reason to get stressed out. Just take it easy,
Yeah, it's
Alright.
true.
Every game is 0-0. No 1-1, no 2-1, 1-2.
Yeah,
not
it's
not
true,
like
it's
that,
true.
Just 0-0 every game. And Joey will control the mental warfare.
All right.
And then
So we blame Joey if you lose.
There you go.
There
Okay.
we go.
So I
now
don't
you
know.
can blame me if we lose.
I don't
Because
know.
usually I have a big part of why we win or lose. So if you feel like
Alright.
you need someone, then just
Flame
over
Rekkles.
here.
I love it.
Fine,
This-
flame him.
Love Joey. Flame Rekkles. Those are the takeaways.
I mean, I must be like the most experienced flamed person in the history of
There's
League of Legends.
Soas.
So.
Soas is in there as well.
Yeah, exactly. We have like the.
well, you don't remember the Perkz after his first MSI trip? I mean,
That's
there's a
true.
lot
Yeah,
of there's
come
a
on,
lot of
like,
people
I'm
getting
here,
flamed.
bro. I've been like here and here and here.
Just drawing a roller coaster right now for anyone wondering.
Very
Actually,
large
that's a
roller
topic that I found very very interesting. Like how cocky players transitioned from being like incomplete to very complete players. For example, how I mean, you're a really good example, right? Like you're really cocky in your first bit, but you were not actually. I mean, you were really good, right?
I
But you were
remember-
not the player you are now. Now you're much better than you were back
I mean,
then.
of course. I remember you were telling me. Why are you trolling in SoloQ? Like you're so good or something? And I was like, I was just ending in SoloQ, right?
Yeah.
Like I was ending in SoloQ, and I was just taking it like I thought I was like so much better than everyone else, right?
So you didn't have to try.
Like I thought I was like, oh, I'm smurfing in EU LCS and everyone is so boosted. I'm just going on stage and I feel like I have like my mouse movestat is faster than anyone else's mouse, so I can't lose. Yeah, that was not very good mindset to have, guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, right now like I feel like the same, but I feel like I can get so much better all the time, right? So
Yeah.
like I feel like when I'm playing, I can get always better, and it's just so entertaining, right? Because I'm so good, but I can be so much better, like there's no hope. There's no hope.
But I
for
think there's a
anyone.
lot of players that are notorious for being like very outspoken, right? Like Doublelift, Julius, who, I mean, for example, in Double's case, I think he also dropped the cocky part somewhere along his career and got much better.
Yeah,
I mean, he's
for
still
sure.
There's the
very
trash talk is
outspoken,
still there.
sure,
Yeah.
but it's not the same anymore. Like when I played him back in the day, like 2013, maybe even 2012, when he was really cocky, and before every game he would just say that I have no chance.
Yeah.
I didn't think he was a good player. I thought it was easy to play against him. But then he dropped that part, actually improved, and now when I play against him, he's actually a good player,
Yeah.
Now he's actually a good player. And I feel like the same for Julius. He is very cocky, but he's not actually, I mean, he's really good, but it's again an incomplete player that could be complete if he just drops this act and actually looks at what can I do to become better,
Yeah.
We
Fine,
really
not
like
just
the trash
sees,
talk,
like-
though.
We don't drop it entirely.
Yeah,
we like
we
trash
want
talk.
some trash talk.
I mean, sure, you should keep your persona, right? I don't think
Yeah.
he's faking
Yeah,
it by any
yeah.
means. I think this is how he is. But I also think there has to be a
line.
line
Yeah,
somewhere.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So you can't improve as well, because I feel like he's going to be stuck here unless he drops his act. Like eventually people are going to catch up to him and become just as good, if not better. And then he has to make a change somewhere. And if you're this cocky, how do you make a change? How do you go to bed at night thinking, tomorrow I need to improve, if you just believe all the time that you're the best, then no one stands a chance.
I think the thing is that we learned from talking to Gilius is that when he looks back, he can always see how bad he was, and a lot of his belief.
Yeah,
I mean, in that case, that's great. I just see what all the
yeah,
fans see, right?
I think
that's
it's fair.
constantly like, I'm the best jungler in the world. I mean, sure, he is good, but he is not the best jungler in the world.
We're gonna find out because he plays you.
Oh my god, if he solo carries against Fnatic,
then he's the best jungler.
There's a chance he does. He is a good jungler.
He would prove all the analysts wrong, like he did last week when, for some reason, almost everyone on our broadcast team predicted H2K.
no, we were 50-50.
Oh, okay, all right.
So, hey, super quick question. Sorry, I know we're going very long. Is it better to predict 3-0 for one team or predict 3-2 for the other team if the game goes all the way to 5?
I mean,
What are you trying to get?
it's like I told you in the beginning.
H2K?
It's good to have a strong opinion. 3-2 is for cowards. You just,
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah, that's kind of true though.
What if you actually
and
believe it's gonna
3-1
be
is
3-2?
even worse. I think 3-2 is
Come on, man.
3-2 is
3-1 is like a decent one.
okay, but 3-1 is the worst because that's like
It's a
yeah,
safe
I
one,
believe
no?
in this team, but I want to be safe, so I say one game.
No, it's more like
3-1. Like 3-1 is the worst. Just say 3-0
Alright.
or 3-2.
Actually, that makes sense. I think
It's an even series. 3-2.
G2 3-0 slice.
You changing it now?
Yeah, I'm changing. Like,
Okay.
3-0.
Rekkles convinced me. You convinced me. It's 3-0.
But still 3-1 Fnatic Vitality, though, right?
Yeah.
Whatever. Okay, I want to run through the predictions. We're having a good time. We're talking about a lot of different stuff, but I do want to kind of round it out here. As a reminder, these are the final predictions from our group here. Fnatic versus Vitality. Rekkles is predicting a 3-2. Perkz is predicting a 3-1. Deficio is predicting a 3-1. After Rekkles' moving speech, I'm going to predict a 3-0.
All to Fnatic.
All
Nice.
to Fnatic. There you go. Rekkles has predicted a 3-0 for G2 versus Splice. Perkz has predicted a 3-0 as well now after Rekkles' speech. Deficio still
Cocky
says
players.
3-2. I still say 3-2. I still think it's close.
I feel we just all agree that G2 and Fnatic will be in the final in Copenhagen.
So now all we need to figure out who is the flag barrier. Is that how you think?
yeah,
Flag barrier.
you guys need it, man.
Carrier.
Carry it
Carrier.
out.
I'm going to predict a 3-2 G2 in the final.
3-2 G2 in the final.
See, that would actually be perfect.
That is a close series.
Hold on.
It's a not biased
He means 3-2. He doesn't care who wins.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
no
yeah.
preference.
I mean,
he just
5
wants
games.
5 games.
Okay,
For the
so
love
we
of
can
God.
put Fnatic then. Since no one cares,
Can we just get a
apparently.
5-game G2
Listen,
final?
I
for
always
once?
we talked about this last time you were here, Rekkles, but I still have dreams about the Stockholm Origin versus Fnatic 5-game final, which was the greatest EU LCS moment ever.
Yes.
If we can get G2, the 4-time champions, versus Fnatic, the 5-time champions, playing in Denmark, of course, the greatest nation in the world, go all the way to 5 games, that would just be perfect.
And my
would
whole
be hype.
family is there as well, seeing me lift that trophy. That's gonna be great.
It would be hype, man. But you gotta win your semi first, so don't get too
That's
ahead of
true,
yourself,
yeah.
guys.
They have a painting, like painting you lifted the trophy or...
Oh my gosh.
I'm just
All right.
dreaming.
There's our semi-final preview, plus Twitter questions, plus discussions about coaching, plus discussions about some other stuff, plus some other
Everything
stuff.
but the preview.
we talked about a lot of stuff there. That's that. Now we will move forward. All right, guys. We did predictions, but we realized we didn't make a bet. We didn't have a wager. Now, it's difficult because we're all in agreement on this podcast that G2 and Splice are going to make to the finals.
G2 and Fnatic.
G2 and Splice can't make it.
Yeah.
So at least I didn't say something that could have happened and just BM both of you. So I have an idea. If either one of you are wrong, and I guess all of us would be wrong at this point, but let's say Fnatic or G2
I mean, if we both lose, we both do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
You both
that's
get
even
Here it
better.
is. We figured it out out there. I'm not going to lie to you guys. So let's just lay it out. I was going to try to set it up a little bit, but here's the deal. If Fnatic or G2 do not make the finals, so if they're playing in the 3rd place match, on the day of finals, they have to come in before the crowd gets there and stand on stage with the trophy in a giant Pulsa costume.
Giant sausage costume.
Giant sausage costume, Danish sausage costume. I don't know how we're going to distinguish that.
We're definitely going to get one. It's pretty easy.
And say how great it is to be there next to the trophy.
Film it, upload it.
Upload it. We will play it on broadcast.
And how excited you are.
And how excited you are for the other one if one of you makes it and the other one doesn't.
And if we both miss it, then we can just walk around.
And if you
know,
both miss it, just go dance together.
Yeah.
If they both miss it, which is
We can
maybe...
all cry on the trophy.
Yeah, if they both miss it, they both have to do it. We will get 2 sausage costumes. They will both go on stage and say how happy they are for Splice and Vitality to be playing in their first
And
finals.
what if we both make it?
Then I want to propose one thing.
Okay.
I am probably already doing a bit of the crowd warm up together with hopefully Quickshot. So I want to propose, if you both make it, Daniel Rekkles, as the man who came up with this bit, needs to wear the sausage costume and actually be part of the crowd warm up.
Yeah, that's a
So
good
he
one.
will be there with the crowd, with me and Trevor, saying hello to the crowd on the finals
No,
day.
he needs to dance like a chicken.
Dance like a chicken.
Yeah.
Wait, but this is in the case that we both make it.
Yeah.
This is if you both make the final.
Then we should both do it.
No, it's Drake is getting punished for this.
Why am
one.
I getting? I don't.
I see.
You guys are doing the. You just focus on playing.
Because
again.
I was thinking, okay, so you take away our prep time
No,
to
no,
walk
no,
around.
no,
and
no,
so-
no. That's on Drake.
Here's the deal. This is fine for me, Martin, except you have to wear a sausage costume too. Because either way, at this point, we're getting 2 sausage costumes.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah, because look, I
that's fair.
either way,
fair.
either
Yeah,
way,
you
look,
have a
look,
sausage
I
roll,
predicted them both to win, right? And so did you. We all agreed in predictions. So if this is going to be a punishment scenario where
Yes.
then you have to suffer
This is
too. You
great.
can't single me out here.
Oh, I was hoping I could get away with it, and the players would like, yeah. That's
I mean, they
great.
are like, yeah, but it's even better with you. Both of us. Okay.
So either way, people can expect.
Either way,
nice
there will be sausage costumes
video.
on
Yeah.
stage.
But
Sausage party on
so
stage.
I have to go straight to the caster desk after we've done the warm up. I guess I have time to take it off. Yeah,
Yep.
probably.
You just take your suit
I mean, you
jacket
can do it
off,
without
you
the
put
head
your sausage
usually, right? I
costume
mean,
on.
it's usually like a.
Normally the head. Yeah, that's fine.
We'll figure
You
it out.
know what?
We'll
That way you
figure it
don't
out.
ruin your hair. Or
I
makeup.
feel like it's a horrible bet for us. Like the chances
It's just
of
as
us
bad for us.
winning.
I guess for you it's even worse because then the
mean,
crowd
the-
is gonna be there, right?
Yeah.
So we don't have to get embarrassed.
Yeah.
But
embarrassed
this is
by
only
our
if they
role.
both win. So if
They
one
both
blows,
have
if
to
one of
win.
you guys loses, we both get out of this. This is so.
That's true.
This is I feel
That's
like
true.
good.
That's true.
That's true.
So who is on my
You
side?
guys are trading your.
Who is on which side?
So
So
it's-
if I lose,
If you lose,
then it's only me
then
and
you
one
have
of you
to
guys,
do it.
or
No, just you.
Actually,
That's
I'm going to be
just
on the
you.
Perkz side here because I think seeing a Swedish man on stage in Denmark in a sausage costume.
No, but
That
you
would
guys
make
are
the
okay. You
Danish
guys are the
audience
casters,
proud.
right? You guys are the casters, and you want to see this final. So you have to sacrifice something, like your shame for the final, right? For the G200 finals, for the hype finals, you have to
Right.
sacrifice
Yeah.
your shame.
I'm in. We got
Yes.
it.
Nice.
Oh, this
Let's
is going to
do
be the best and worst thing we've ever done.
hype.
I
All
know
right.
we had one we ordered online like 2 years ago, for Primetime League.
We're going to figure it
That's
out.
like a
We're going to get another
sausage
one.
thing.
All right, to recap.
Ugh.
If Fnatic or G2, either one and or both, do not make the finals, the people who do not make the finals will come on stage in a sausage costume and make a lovely video promoting the trophy that the teams playing for the final get to play for. Now, if they both make the final and we get the fabled G2 Fnatic final that many people are predicting, both Deficio and I will dress up in sausage costumes and do the crowd warm-up.
Yes. What about Trevor? Is he not wearing one?
Trevor isn't a part of this. You can't just make him wear. I mean, maybe if he wants to wear a sausage costume, we can't do bets with people that aren't here.
That's true. Oh man.
All
My
right.
family's gonna be there.
Same.
Look at this.
My
See you in
brother's
a
gonna be
sec. All right. Now the last part of this prediction thing is we wanted to kind of expand it a little bit to just get some more predictions since obviously it's not the regular season anymore. We don't have 10 games a day or 10 games a week rather. We wanted to try this thing called Over Under. It's something that I still want to give a shout out to Countdown for kind of kicking off. And so I'm going to go through 4 statements. There's 2 about Perkz, there's 2 about Rekkles, and we can predict over under on what is actually going to happen in the game. So for Rekkles, I'm going to ask you to predict for Perkz, and for Perkz, I'm going to ask you to predict for Rekkles.
And we predict for both.
And we predict for both. Yes.
So Rekkles cannot predict for himself.
No.
Cool.
Well, can I say what I think still after you?
You can say what
Yeah,
you think
yeah,
for sure, for sure. I just don't want to in any way imply stakes where you could be like, we're winning this game pretty hard. I could die one more time. I don't ever want to walk
That's a
into
good
that
point.
scenario.
That's a
so
good
you're not
point.
allowed to predict for your own stuff.
All right. Let's go.
All right. So the first statement, this one is about Perkz. Perkz will die 8 times in his series versus Splice. Now, under. All right. Well, here's the statistic to back it up before you make anything else. He has 39 deaths over 19 games. So it's a little less than 2 deaths per game on average.
So that means if we go 5 games.
If we go 5 games, he should be, in theory, over 8.
Then I'm wrong anyways about my predictions, so then I might as well be wrong about this too.
So you
That's
think
true.
Perkz will die less than 8 times?
Yes.
That's under from Rekkles' side.
You better.
He's going against Niski. I don't think he's going to...
He's not gonna die early game against.
I agree.
Niski.
I agree on
I
under.
mean, I might. I entered against you called Zach, so.
Yeah, but they don't gank mid, so you're fine.
Yeah, I'm going to go under.
You going under as well? Well, I'm going over. Yeah. I think
As usual.
Perkz is gonna I got a 3-2 prediction.
Perkz is gonna int it.
Perkz is gonna die a lot. I say he dies more than 8 times. What happens if he actually dies 8 times? Then he just nullified?
Then we're just not nullified.
Okay, cool.
Then my random number that I picked that was somewhat statistically relevant will be correct.
I'm going over him.
Next one, a little less flamey. Rekkles is going to have an average of plus 15 CS at 15 minutes for average across his entire series. Currently, he has an average of plus 9.8, so almost 10 in his favor. But the reason I picked a higher number is it seems like we talk about mini Truex Jackal not being as lane dominant. It seems like you can probably crush it out in the CS
So basically,
department.
you're saying that Rekkles will be 15 CS ahead of mini Truex on average.
On average.
At 15 minutes.
At 15 minutes is when we'll mark
This
it.
is too extreme. No, this is like an under. No, this is honestly, this is like really extreme. No way.
I don't know. You got a 3-1 prediction that there could be some games where the Fnatic bot lane wins really hard.
Oh, you do have a 3-1.
Yeah, but I think that, as I said, Vitality bot lane will they will win early game at least 2 games. I think not bot lane, but like bot mid jungle will win early game at least 2 games. That's how I see it, and by that he already cannot have CS advantage in my opinion.
Oh, he could definitely have CS advantage.
see about that.
It's his mid lane dying.
Is it at 15 or what?
At 15 minutes.
minutes.
Marked
yeah,
at 15.
Yeah, so
I'm going
under.
I'm going over.
I'm going, actually we want to go over, but so that 15 minutes, it's 15 CS on average. So I'm going under just because it's on average, but I think there will be a game or two where he's actually above that.
I mean, there will be a game where Rekkles will Flame Horizoning enemy AD for sure. At
15 minutes.
And that would get him to the 15 average. Dude, all it takes is one Flame Horizon and then being even
All
for the
right,
rest of the
what do you got
series.
there, Rekkles?
It really depends on how they play. If they leave me alone, then I'm over, or 15 plus. If they don't leave me alone, then I'm under. It really just depends. If they want to spend resources on shutting me down, then I'm under. Otherwise, I'll be over.
Yeah.
Next one, the second one for Perkz is Perkz will deal 32% of his team's damage.
32.
Yeah, currently he does about 30. Pretty average or slightly above average, I think, for mid laners, give and take, but pretty average for mid laners.
I would say under.
You think Perkz is going to do? You think he's going to be on that, like, Galio mid dog duty in the mid lane?
I think he will be on a carry. But I also think there's going to be more carries in G2 Esports.
See, that's what I'm thinking too.
There's no way he gets 32.
No way he gets 32, you say. So Caps and you are both above 32 on average.
Yeah, but we don't play carry top laners.
I don't know, fair enough. But Caps is like on near 40, I think, for most of the split.
True.
He was abusing with Asir and Corki.
So,
I can't do anything.
so
I'm trying, but I can't.
Of his team scene. There's a chance that it just becomes the Wonder Perkz show. And they deal all the damage, and Yanin is trying to get to late game, but never gets there because they've already won the early game.
But then he will never have 32. You cannot get 32% in the early game. There's not enough damage to deal.
No, because it's percentage based, right?
Yeah,
It's totally.
So it doesn't actually matter how much.
Yeah, I know. But I'm just saying, as a carry, it's hard to deal almost more damage in your like jungler early game.
Because support in jungle.
I'm not saying a game ends at like 15 minutes.
It's just the longer the game goes, the support kind of goes up with your early game, right? But then at some point the support stops and you just keep going. So the longer the game goes, the more percentage you get. Just keep
but then
going.
Yanin suddenly kicks in and he starts going up, and that might pull Perkz down a little bit.
Put him on Boris duty.
There needs to be a sweet spot where Perkz ends the game at like
So
30
now
minutes.
Perkz is gonna tell his coach, can we draft
Guys, Corki mid. Support
No,
everything else.
I'm going over.
Give me some CC.
I'm going over.
Drop some CC, guys.
Perkz gonna carry.
Wasn't there an Ornn 80 carry at some point in some region?
Yeah,
maybe you
There
can
was
ask
Ornn-
Jarnon
Are you
if he...
serious?
One Cyan bot lane.
Wasn't that the GAM team?
I think it was. I think it
off.
was a Cyanide carry.
yeah.
Or
Cyan,
I don't
Cyan.
actually
You
know.
can always ask
Alright.
if they want to play this.
What are you
Yeah,
saying,
that's
Drake?
I'm saying over. Rekkles says under. I think over. I think Perkz is going to...
So we both go and Perkz will deal more than 32% of his team's damage, and Rekkles
You
says
guys
under.
really have high trust in me. I have to say, I'm gonna have to
Come
disappoint.
on,
No
you do
pressure.
30 now. We just need to do 2% more. Or 3% more.
Here's the one.
The last one.
Last one. Rekkles will die 3 times over the course of the series. Keep in mind he currently has he dies less than 1 time per game on average. He has 13 total deaths over 18 games. Don't
This is
stay out
actually
of
this is
Rekkles.
actually a really tough one because like usually I would have like, I think he's really good at not dying and playing like well, but against Vitality, like especially against Vitality,
It's hard to play well against that.
I think that he might die. Like I think that he might die, or he might be behind it. Like I don't know. I have this feeling that like he has, Fnatic can actually lose to Vitality, right?
Okay.
So I think that he will actually, like, I would say like usually, right, I would say he's gonna have 0 deaths, right? He cannot die, but I think I might have to go over with this one. Like
I would say over as well.
like
If
I really want to
Don't say over. I told you not to vote on this.
It's okay. Like I'm already mentally prepared to get cheesed, So I would
There is no
be
such thing as
surprised.
cheese on the strategy.
Yeah.
That's what
Okay.
everyone
Sure.
said.
Sure. I'm mentally prepared to get strategized.
There you go.
All right, I'm going over to you.
It's just
If you guys are both going over,
You can just go over as well. This isn't like a you have to be the bad cop
You pick
kind of
this or I
scenario.
pick this.
but the thing is, he's gonna get ganked in the early game. That's
I
for
will,
sure.
but I will not fall behind. You cannot put me behind.
That's why I predicted in favor of you on the CST thing.
I think that he will die with getting the CS. Like, he's gonna play Tristana.
Yeah.
He's gonna get ganked. He's gonna run down, like,
I
proxy
think,
the
I think
base.
you have to stop. Okay, so you started with he's gonna play Tristana, then you have to stop,
Actually, yeah, he cannot die with play Tristana. Okay.
and now you can go next.
Actually,
What's your next?
it really depends
next
if he
argument?
plays Tristana or not. If he plays Tristana, he's 0 deaths. If he doesn't, he
Okay.
dies for sure.
I'm
He
going
dies.
under. Vitality's gonna put all their focus on camping mid, and then they're gonna lose late game anyway. And
then
then
yeah.
Rekkles is not
possible.
gonna die more than 3 times.
But if they put
this
their
is
all-
actually this is actually a really hard one.
So
like,
you're saying
Yeah.
they're putting all the resources mid, but they're never coming to me.
No, because by the time they're done mid, we go into a Baron phase, and then
Okay.
you're fine.
I'm glad you have so much
I
trust
think
in my
no,
mid
okay,
jungler.
I think
I do as well.
I just really wonder what's the draw gonna be. Okay, I'm actually gonna go with under as well. After all things, I think that what's gonna happen is that Rekkles is not gonna be too bad to die. So he's gonna give a bot turret, and he's gonna collect some farm. He's gonna get 2 or 3 items, and he's not gonna die.
And then gonna carry alone. Sounds
Okay.
about right. Sounds about me.
So we got 2 under, 1 above. And it's only 3 deaths in the best of 5.
Oh my god. All right, guys. That's the dream. Well, there's your over-unders. That was an absolute mess.
That was really good, though.
Yeah, I had to like really think about it.
Yeah,
you know?
it's tough.
Good brain exercise. Thanks.
I believe in Caps as well. I do. Caps Proxy, like, man. If I was a mid laner, I would really want to watch Caps versus Jisuke. It's one Smurfer against
Hey,
another.
if you're a viewer, you should definitely watch as well. It's on
Caps versus
Saturday
Jisuke.
they play, and you should definitely also watch the other semifinal.
Friday and Saturday, EU
That's
LCS.
on Friday.
Ah. One day
You should
starts
really
at 6
watch.
p.m., one day starts at 5 p.m.
And also, you should watch them play in Copenhagen, so go get your tickets.
available on
and check
eu.allesports.com.
Twitter for Sausage Party.
And check Twitter for the sausage ones.
The
yes.
sausage party bet is here. All right, that was a rambly episode for sure, folks, but I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you to both Perkz and Rekkles for coming on.
Yeah, thanks.
Deficio was here too.
Are we going to do the last Perkz play-by-play?
Okay.
Yes, to send you out. It's been a long episode, but to reward you for your diligence in staying here, we have one final Perkz play-by-play.
This is the one.
You ready, Perkz?
I'll go back.
You
Wait,
wanna
are you
go
guys
back
going
now?
to
do we stay
the
here?
clip ones or something on YouTube for them? How do people know what is casting?
Oh, they have no clue.
They have no clue. All
That's
right.
the art of casting.
Yeah, okay.
That's like they
You
will
gotta be
know.
able to describe.
Yeah,
You ready?
exactly.
Okay.
Do I start here or do I start backwards?
I mean, you can put it
But
5 seconds
But
back.
I don't know where. Okay, I'll just go now. So right now. Okay. So Fnatic just got an ace, and no, Fnatic just got 3 kills, and they're running it down mid, and Rekkles is going through the base, and Rekkles is hitting creeps, and he's walking, and they're buffing the minion waves, and Corki is poking them with rockets, and Broxah goes in, Broxah EQ flash, boom, ult, Rekkles, oh, Rekkles with the auto attacks, oh, he just auto attacks, oh, Rekkles is not auto attacking, he's not auto attacking, Rekkles is not auto attacking, I repeat, enemy AD carry is not auto attacking, Rekkles is hitting the Nexus, his team is dying, Rekkles is hitting the creeps, Q, boomerang, bomb, oh, ricochet, oh, Rekkles is not hitting anyone yet, I'm lying, he's really not auto attacking, oh, but UL Cole is trying to up a Rekkles, and Rekkles, he is looking for it. He wants it. Oh, the dodge on Arcan W. The walk forward. Rekkles, what is he doing? He's holy shit, this is a man. This one on my screen is a man. Ends the game 1 versus 5, 1 versus 9. What a game, what a performance by Martin Rekkles Larsen. 0 Texan champions, but wins the game.
Thanks.
What a performance.
But how was I supposed to out there? Like, okay, so
Wait.
before we end, this is really important for all the Sivir mains out there.
No, they
If
don't
Jarvan-
even know what game you're talking
No,
about.
they will figure out. Okay, so if Jarvan ults and you're a Sivir, you're 500 range, you cannot auto-attack if the guy is on the other side of the ult. It's not possible. You cannot click him.
You could just walk around and he can walk around.
No, because the Nexus was here.
Oh, yeah.
So I
yes.
couldn't walk there. And then when the Saya flashed on me, I had to back because she had 3 feathers. So I dodged the last feather by walking back. Otherwise, I
Yeah.
got snare and die in
Alright.
the spot.
There you guys have it.
You guys have to trust me.
All right, this is for those who want to try to figure this out. This is Fnatic versus Unicorns of Love, week 4, day 1. This is the final fight where Rekkles heroically takes the Nexus without auto-attacking a
And
champion.
that's why Medic is 3rd on my list.
Ah,
He didn't play me. I would have put Deficio, but Deficio memed me.
All right, guys, there you have it. That is the episode 10 of EUphoria. We'll talk to you guys next week.